The following podcast episode might contain coarse language and subjects not suitable for younger audiences. Your discretion is advised.
Live from a not-so-sleepy little town comes a podcast for a mobile game. Really? Anyhow, your hosts, a content creator and an artist trying to come up with wild ideas while also talking about whatever. It's the Goosebumps HorrorTown TerrorVision Podcast!
School's out for summer. School's out forever. School's been blown to pieces. Except for Bell Valley Middle School. That school's there is there going to be there, and you're going to come in. It's been so long since I've done the chameleon / Shadow Lord voice, but yeah, Shadow Lord, I hate the Shadow Lord because God, it hurts my voice, but you know, it's perfect for, you can't do a character like that without the deep voice, right? So there's that.
I love Shadow Lord.
I especially love the. Okay, you know what? We'll talk about that in a moment. But anyways, hi folks. Welcome back to the Goosebumps HorrorTown TerrorVision Podcast. Yeah, I can say the one word. I'm Grimm, as always, and with me is my co-host Playboy Vampire.
I'm also R.L. Stein. I write the Goosebumps books.
I love that too. Hello, I'm R.L. Stein. I write the Goosebumps books. It's like on beat. That's what he does. And he's so, like, I don't know what it is. Like, we talked about him before, but I love his characteristics. It's just like, he's just odd, you know? He's like a weird uncle that you like. But anyways, yeah, so we have a very
Well,
interesting.
I wouldn't say he's the weird uncle. I would say he's the fun uncle. You
He's
know, the one
he's
that
the funny uncle. Let's put it that way, because he is funny in his own weird way. But anyways, and yeah, he is a cool
with a
uncle.
clean
But
background.
yeah, he is. He's funny. Yeah, so we have a bunch of stuff to talk about today, and as you could probably tell from the beginning of this bit, it's about school. And to give you context, we're filming this on the 27th of July. Yes, in the middle of the summer, and I can feel the heat. It sucks right now in here. I'm not sure about how it is over there for you. By the time you see this in August, it'll be the 16th. So yeah, I figured about time that you whippersnappers go back to school. Except if you're old like me, then you don't get that. Every day is school. uh you know, that was the thing back then. It's like kids were like, "Ah, I hate school," but I'm like, no, no, I would want to go back to school. At least that was easy. At least I had like 2 months of free time, right? That was the
Yeah,
best.
I know, right? It's
Not
like
anymore.
when I was it's like when I was younger, I always wanted to go back to school, and I always like look forward to going to school because I guess it was because staying at home was extremely boring.
Why are you a weirdo? Yes. Yeah. The answer is yes, we are. Um, I always used to go to like a summer camp during that time, which is quite interesting. But it's weird up in Canada because our weird, like, I don't know how it is in the States, but I know up in here, it's a bit odd because part of the thing is that there's always this grading system. And this will make sense later on. Don't worry about it. I mean, I'm setting it up, but in Canada, there's a rating system where there's like the A, B, C, D, and it follows through like it does in the States. Except in Canada, it's a bit different because we don't have Fs. We only have Fs in the secondary school era, like when you're in the high school and whatnot. That's usually when the Fs come in. But for the most part, I mean, even then, I don't think I even had Fs. Instead, we had Rs. Do you remember this?
I think so.
Yeah, so I just thought something weird where, you know, it had fairy godparents on the mind. And I thought, man, imagine if they were made in Canada instead of Crocker giving Fs, he gives out Rs. It's like, what does the pirate say?
Yeah.
R! You get an R. Everybody get Rs. And then here's the bad. Here's the dirty joke. There's an episode, if I remember correctly, wasn't there an episode where AJ, is it AJ? AJ's the smart kid, right?
Yeah, he's a
Good.
smart one.
I'm good with my lore. Okay. Wasn't there an episode where AJ gets an F finally? I could have sworn there was one episode that's like that, but I might be mistaken.
Yeah, I think there is, but I think it was due to Timmy's shenanigans.
Yeah, I remember this. But then it's like, imagine it's like Crocker tells him, AJ, I was waiting to give you this for a long time. An R. And he drops a rock shape R. Get it? It's like the gamer word.
Yeah, I think it was because I think it was oh yeah, I remember. I believe it was no, that's not the episode. Shit. I was gonna say that it was most likely the episode where like Timmy wished to be smarter than his classmates, and in doing so, he just made everyone else just dumber than him.
Yeah,
But he
it's
still
the be
retains
careful what you
the
wish for
intelligence.
shenanigans.
Yeah,
I
that's always
want to
the
be
case
better
with
than people on my sports team. Okay, everyone's sick. Now you're the best, technically. Uh,
yeah.
oh man, I love that. Speaking of Very Odd Parents, they have a new reboot come out now, and a lot of people have interesting opinions on it, especially since they've kind of started to kind of be like, hey, remember these characters? Because AJ, like the recent episode, AJ and Crocker actually came back, which is kind of cool to see. Like they're now older, right? Like Crocker is now the janitor to AJ's thing. I'm not, again, I don't keep in touch with this, but one of the things that I saw the internet not shut up about is that Poof came back and he's now an adult. In fact, he's now known as Perry. And the
Yeah.
thing is, he kind of sounds like what old Cosmo used to be, which I thought that's a nice little reference there because Cosmo didn't used to be stupid. Like he was a bit like yeah, he was a bit silly, but he wasn't stupid stupid. He just later on became stupid. Because if you ever look at the pilots, he was pretty smart.
I know that well, to me, I don't think the new show is that bad. I'm just like
Oh,
anticipating the arrival of Anti Cosmo.
oh yeah, they're already talking about like anti poof is coming at some point near the season finale. So the anti fairy should be coming. So I'm curious about that,
Well,
especially anti poof.
it's been a long time since I've actually seen Anti Cosmo. He was like my favorite, as well as like Anti Wanda.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like they're
It's
coming
just
back
not
at some
much.
point. It'll be interesting to see how they change. We haven't seen what Timmy is like. I mean, we kind of did a future episode, kind of like in the sense of that nature, but I don't know why they never done this in the first place. I mean, the whole point is that, as soon as they grow up, they go assigned to another kid. So it's like, we need to make the show new again. It's just like, why don't you do that then? But no, it took them God knows how long for that to happen. And Butch Hartman, I don't think, isn't part of it anymore. But anyways,
No,
that's
and there's always been like some lore breaking shenanigans going on in that show.
I mean, it would be better than what they did before. It's like, hey, Timmy, we're giving you to another fan. Your other parents are gonna be with another kid, but they're also doing it with you. It's like, what kind of stupid nonsense is this?
Especially since
And
Chloe Carmichael
especially in
had
the
like
beginning of the
absolutely
season, they made fun of stuff like this, where shows used to add stupid crap, in this episode we changed our friends to be monkeys because that's better for the ratings. It's just like that. It's exactly what happened to the old like. It was SpongeBob and Fairy
yeah,
Odd Parents,
that's
but SpongeBob was the breadwinner for Nickelodeon, right?
yeah, it's kind of weird that that episode predicted the future of like Fairly Odd Parents.
Yeah, that usually tends to happen. It's like they end up becoming what they like. What is it? You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Like that usually tends to become the truth because eventually that does end up happening, either due to age or other shenanigans that happen in the process. But whatever. Kind of getting off track a little bit. Let's talk about some Goosebumps stuff, all right? Yeah, that's kind of cool stuff. First, before we do that type of thing, there is something you want to talk about. There's something I want to talk about, and then there's news to talk about. So, what do you want to do first? You, me, or the news?
Let's do you. I said let's do you.
Okay, let's do me. All right. So, you've basically showed me something that I had no idea about, and this is partially because you have a DeviantArt page, and don't cringe at it. I mean, it's what it is, right? I know DeviantArt has a very infamous thing on the website, but it's not like that for him. It's actually showing his artwork and whatnot. But I digress. Anyways, you show your artwork on DeviantArt, so you have a following there. And then people comment
Yes.
some of the stuff, especially some future project that you might see in the future. Hint, hint. But during that time, there was somebody who actually saw this and was curious about the thing, and he actually became part of familiar with the show to the point where he started listening to it. And this is the fun part. He ended up actually making his own concept, and the one he decided to choose for was "Don't Go to Sleep."
I always thought that we were going to save that one until we actually do the episode of Don't Go to Sleep.
Yeah, I figure mentioning it now, like we are going to go highlight that in the future, so don't worry. Like when we actually do the episode, which I think we've agreed that I was gonna do that, like that part eventually.
Okay.
I mean, unless you want to do it, that's okay too. I mean, I have an idea what I want to do with it, but
I mean, I just thought that was the case.
yeah, okay. Well, so anyways, give a
Oh,
shout out.
before you,
Like who? Like,
uh,
do you know the name of what he was again on DeviantArt?
I was actually going to get to that. His name is, or he goes by Towers of Obscure.
That's right. So if you're hearing this, that's right. We're shouting you out, buddy. We will be reading your thing when we get to it eventually. I don't think we'll do it this year, but probably next year for sure, because we already have plans for what we're going to be talking about for this year to end it off. So next year, we're most likely will be talking about Don't Go to Sleep in our some case. So what we'll do is that we'll read your concept out, we'll show that off, and then I'll show you what I would have done. And this is the fun part because even like when I do an idea and you do an idea, it's totally different than how I would do it. And that's the fun part is that everybody tends to have their own kind of idea, way of they would do an update. So, as a fun experiment for those who are listening to the podcast who actually are creative, if you want, you can you send us your ideas of what would you like to see as far as things go. Like, you can look at an example for Tower of Obscure, see how he did it, and go from there. And whatever you do, if it's a book topic that we're going to be talking about, we will talk about it. If it's something we've done in the past, but you wanted to add stuff to it, we'll mention it at some point as well. But if that's a thing that we would go ahead and do. So yeah, I figured just mention
Like,
that right now, but we will definitely be talking about it when we talk about Don't Go to Sleep. So don't worry, your time will come, not this year, but certainly at some point. So stay tuned for that.
we feed on we feed on participation.
Yes, we make money off of your participation. No, you don't make money off of your participation. We don't make money at all. I don't do ads on this thing. But to be fair, I do pay Vampire for his work, so he does get compensation, right? I figured it's only fair. So when he does work for
Yeah.
me, I do give him money, and we go from there. But yeah, anyways, that's the only thing I wanted to talk about and mention from this point here, so that we got that going on for ourselves. So with that in mind, let's move on to you. There is something you wanted to talk about, which has something to do with Goosebumps, and it's something of an idea you had going on for yourself.
Yeah. So I've been working on a trading card game for, I guess, since like 2012. And the game itself is called Necromasters. Now, Necromasters is a trading card game that utilizes zombies and undead folklore and all that stuff.
Now,
So,
sorry, I was going to say, now, I might be mistaken, but I believe I showcased one of these things from the Cuckoo Clock of Doom episode when you're talking about you had.
yes,
So, okay, so I just wanted to make sure that there
yes.
was some preview of this. So, but anyways, during this time, you're
The,
seeing some examples of his future stuff. But anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. The cards that he showed last time during Cuckoo Clock of Doom was featuring an archetype referred to as the Mad. And one of the concepts I borrowed from that archetype was Mad Cuckoo Bird or Mad Cuckoo. But this is a new archetype that I was playing around for a bit, and I've actually posted a bit of this on Reddit. And uh, so in Yu-Gi-Oh, there's an archetype called Cosmo, spelled with a K first, and it's like Kozmo. And Cosmo is a mix between Star Wars and The Wizard of Oz, and quite literally too, because you have characters like someone who has like a mix between both Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda or Yoda, as well as like the Good Witch of the North. And then you have one that's like a mix between Darth Vader and the Wicked Witch of the West.
That sounds kind of cool, to tell you the truth. I have not been into the Yu-Gi-Oh scene for such a long time, so this is news to me.
I mean, I can scour the internet for pictures of some Cosmo pics to show you, but
Yeah,
otherwise,
that would
but
be
other
helpful
than
for when I'm displaying this on YouTube. But yeah, anyways, go ahead.
so I was playing with the same concept, sort of, not using like Star Wars and Wizard of Oz, but instead mixing in Goosebumps as well as Grimm's fairy tales. Now these are referred to as the Grimm cards. Now the Grimm cards are so another inspiration I took for the Grimm cards was also, no surprise when I say this, but Toon World. Especially when it came to one card that I worked on called Escape from Werewolf Woods.
That sounds
So,
interesting. Yeah.
well, the thing is, what I do is I usually, to make the cover and the names of the books themselves, I had to draw inspiration from both fairy tales and Goosebumps. So, for example, I had one named Welcome to Gingerbread House. That was
Nice.
like a mix of like Welcome to Dead House with like Hansel and Gretel, but the cover idea I made for it would be like a gingerbread version of Escape from Pain House.
Okay.
Then there's another one called Terror Toy, which is a mix between Pinocchio and Night of the Living Dummy. And fun fact about this: when R.L. Stein created the concept for Slappy, he was inspired by Pinocchio.
Yeah, I heard about this too. He's just like that dog's creepy. You should do something like that from one of my books.
And then we come full circle. But anyway, the name itself is derived from Toy Terror, batteries included. But the
Mhm.
cover inspiration would be from the original Night of the Living Dummy 2.
Yeah. Okay.
So with Escape from Werewolf Woods, it's actually a mix between, A Night in Werewolf Woods, as well as the Three Little Pigs.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. Also, it's funny you said Night of the Living Dummy too, because technically Slappy was the main character in that one. He was the twist in the first one. Like Mr. Wood was the character. A lot of people don't even realize that. But there you go. I remember this because that was one of the things where I think it was Goosebumps the game. At some point, you're just talking about like, oh, like my favorite book was Night of the Living Dummy, and they're like, yeah, and it's just like, and I was like, like trying to stall Slappy before weird R.L. Stein came in.
So how this archetype works is that the monsters themselves can be summoned utilizing a set of cards known as ceremonial cards, not to be confused with ritual cards in Yu-Gi-Oh. So the ceremonial cards allow you to summon these monsters, and then when those cards are sent to the cemetery, which is the name of the discard pile in my game, uh, you can banish those cards to activate secondary abilities. So, for example, Escape from Werewolf Woods allows you to summon a zombie whose name has Escape from Werewolf Woods in its text, right?
Okay.
But once it's in the cemetery, you can banish it to add another card that has Grimm or Grimm's Tales Big Bad Werewolf in its text from your deck to your hand.
Okay, that sounds
Uh,
interesting. I do want to point out, like, it makes sense to call them Grim cards, but it's kind of sucky that my name happens to be. So it's not, every time you say Grim cards, it's just like, oh, cards about me? No, I'm not. No, no. Yeah, no. Grim is in Grimm, right? Not like a brother's
yeah,
Grimm, not Grim as in
yeah.
Grim.
Well, speaking of the Brothers Grimm, there's only going to be one character representing the brothers, and
Okay,
his name is yeah, and he's only going to be referred to as Jacob Wilhelm.
okay.
And that's funny because, Jacob and Wilhelm were both the writers for the Grimm tales.
Yeah,
So
well,
I figured I might as well just use the
combine the
two.
two. Yeah.
And I also made them look like Eric Appleby a bit.
Nice. What's funny about that too? Wasn't there like a Brothers Grimm movie sometime in I want to say late 2000s to 2010s where there were like younger versions of the brothers and they had to go up against like weird monster creatures or something like that. I'm trying
Yeah,
to
that
remember.
does actually ring a bell.
I'm trying to remember what the name of it was though.
And one of
Yeah.
the other things I also worked on for the archetype was a variation of Snow White where she's a vampire.
Nice. I mean, it would make sense. Her skin is white as snow because she's dead.
Well, not only that, but there's also a lot of things that would interpret the idea her where she is in fact a vampire. Like for example, uh, I remember reading like this fan theory online, or this fan theory online where they say that Snow White was a vampire.
Yeah. I mean, well, she kind
And
of died and got brought back to life, so either that or a zombie. Mm.
well, not a zombie, but like
Well,
one of the
yeah.
like the fan theory tells a tale where like at a certain point where like the quote unquote evil queen wasn't really evil but just wanted to stop Snow White from like creating a vampire army or something. So she stuck like cloves of garlic inside a hollowed out apple, and she tries to like give it to Snow White, but I guess Snow White was too clever and figured it out, or must have like sniffed out the garlic and shit. So they both had like a fight,
It,
and the queen managed to actually shove the apple in her mouth, which got a clove stuck in her throat.
yeah. It it's funny how you're mentioning this because it's reminding me of two things. One of them was that there was an American McGee game called Grimm, which was this weird. I'm trying to think what it was, but basically you played as a little gnome character by the name of Grimm. And your whole thing is like he reads the stories of fairy tales and he's like, ugh, this is too nice and happy. We need to grim it up, right? So his whole concept is
We
that
need a
he's going, yeah, he's just grimming all
group.
over the place. And just grims all, yeah. Anyways, the whole point is that he stomps on stuff, and every time he levels up, the world gets bigger and bigger. So it's like, what's that game where you play as a little guy who's rolling a ball, and every time he gets bigger, he's allowed to grab more things, and he starts getting the ball bigger and bigger. So you start collecting buildings and whatnot. Like, you know what I mean? Like that game. That
I don't
kind of
think I'm
has this.
familiar with that one.
Yeah, yeah, but that has the same concept as this thing, where basically every time you level up, you're allowed to corrupt more stuff, and by doing that, you
Yeah.
end up kind of making the world more grim. And then by the end of the whole episode, you go back to it ends with the going back to the same story, except now it's more like the proper tale, except it's more darker. I think I played this game one of the episodes, which was a Christmas Carol way back when in 2017 in my archives channel, so you can see an example of this. But the other thing I was thinking about this too is that there was a book series that kind of did something similar to this. Like the only thing I can think of an example on the top of my head is Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I don't know if you've heard of this, but it's the concept of taking old books like, like Pride and Prejudice, but then adding horror elements in there. Like, what if the story of Pride and Prejudice was happening when a zombie apocalypse was going on? And how would they react to that? And
Huh.
I think that's how Abraham the Vampire Hunter came to be as well. And I know that got turned into a movie.
So, so far I've been mostly working on the concepts that surround the big bad werewolf. And so far, one of the things I've only finished so far was the Escape from Werewolf Woods, but there was going to be a sequel book for that one called Return to Werewolf Woods, which features a character based on Red Riding Hood, but she is a werewolf assassin, and her name would be the Red Cloak.
Okay.
And I don't exactly know what card effects I would have for those specifically, but I do have like a lot of ideas in the works for the Grimm cards. Um, Another idea I've worked around with is the classic of Cinderella. Now, in the Grimm book versions, Cinderella was referred to as the Glass Princess. She made a wish to go to the ball, blah blah blah. Except the problem is, at the stroke of 12, her entire body will be made entirely of glass, and everything that she lived in would also be turned to glass. So the cover for that one I made was based on Welcome to the Wicked Wax Museum. As you would see, like, Cinderella looking, distraught and, screaming in horror as her entire body is just made of glass. And there's like a shattered piece of her face that reveals a skull.
Yeah.
And the prince in the background would also just be like a large glass figure. But there was a lot of stuff that I was playing around with when I was making the Grimm cards. So
Sounds
far, I
fun
think
though.
it is. So far, the one I'm very proud of is Escape from Werewolf Woods, mainly
Sounds
because of its huge inspiration from Toon World.
yeah.
I know that the one book name that I was having trouble working on for the Grimm cards was one based around Snow White. I'm trying to think of a good name to give Snow White's book.
Well,
Because at
she's
first I wanted to try Sweet Screams, but then I'm like, oh no, wait, that's Sleeping Beauty. I shouldn't use that. And then I try to use the Glass Coffin. I'm like, no, wait, that's a card that I could use later for her. So
well, I mean, if she's the villain, like you were talking about, like her being a vampire concept, like fan theory,
yeah,
or
she's the antagonist.
well, I mean, please don't feed the vampires of one one example. Vampire breath is another. I'm sure eventually you'll figure, like, yeah, I mean, this concept is still kind of going on, and it'll be interesting to see this play out and see how this turns out. But certainly, it sounds like an interesting idea for sure, and I'll be curious to
I
see.
know that I know that a lot of people on Reddit liked it.
Yeah, so that's good. I'm glad to hear that people enjoy the idea. So it's not like it's we'll go from there. So that's
But if
something you're working on the
Stein
side.
Senpai notices it, that'd be great too.
Yeah, I mean it is related to the Goosebumps lore stuff. So, I mean, and hey, every idea comes from inspirations from other stuff. So, I mean, Goosebumps was kind of a mishmash of like his former work at doing Fear Street, but made it for kids, but also him growing up as a kid, and he used to have haircuts reading the Tales from the Crypts books, and he always jokes about how the reason he's bald is because of how many haircuts he had to go through just so he can read like a Nick's comic book. I still love that little
I
humor
know
in
that.
it.
Oh, speaking of Tales from the Crypt, they actually did like a Grim tale.
Yes, that was the last episode too, and it was an animated one. I remember that. I
I
mean,
know
that
it
was
was like,
showing its quality for sure.
wait, it
It's an
was the last.
interesting book.
Right?
It's an interesting adaptation, I'll say that. But it's like a Mad TV skit, if anything. But yeah, during that last season, you can tell the budget was starting to run out. I'm just like, oh boy. But
Yeah, the last of the budget had to go to the animators for the last one.
though I will say I love the Crypt Keeper as far as the actor is concerned. I know a lot of people did interviews with him, and he's like he really wants the Crypt Keeper to come back and be able to voice him, but the problem is of rights and problems of that, like the EC Comics owning it and doesn't want anything to do with it, and then the problem is people who know the Crypt Keeper know of him through the AM what? No, not AMC, HBO version, right? So that has its own legal stuff. And I know way long ago, M. Night Shyamalan wanted to do a reboot of Tales from the Crypt, and he actually showed a tease trailer. Do you remember this? This was something that was like, I remember seeing this, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then it got canceled because apparently he did this without any any rights whatsoever. So then obviously people got pissed off. Oh, the right ones are, oh, well, what are you doing here? No, 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 no. You can't just use our name without even telling us. Like he just thought, well, my name is M. Night Shyamalan. I thought I could do whatever I want, but no, that was the twist. The twist was it was never coming out.
But it sucks. The only thing we got close to that right now is the Creep Show, which is it was
Oh,
also inspired by the Tales of Give You Crips, right? But he's
Chelsea gave you.
the creeper is no crypt keeper. Yeah. The creeper is no crypt keeper. The only closest we ever got to a crypt keeper like character is Curly from the game, and that's why we love him because he's a silly
Yeah,
skeleton. He's not as creepy as the crypt keeper though, but you know he's our skeleton and we love him. He's the
he's
only person who
iconic.
gives us love. Like the other game developers gave him love, not the people who own him though. They don't care about him anymore. After Slappy came in, he's just like, nah, Slappy's the main character. Screw off, Curly. They made Curly just for the purpose of like,
Really
we need a
cool.
mascot to sell people that this is Goosebumps, the brand. So they made this cool, hip '90s
Curly,
skeleton.
Curly who?
Yeah.
We only care about Slappy
Only
here.
the hardcore
We-
people know about Curly. And speaking of with Curly, doesn't R.L. Stein have like a skeleton he dressed up as Curly and he kind of has him like out and about for Halloween? I think he mentioned something about that.
I almost didn't know that.
Yeah, that was fun. All right, so speaking of like, I think that's about it for you, right? Like, there's nothing else you
Yeah.
wanted to add, or okay, that's wanted to make
No,
sure.
that's about everything I wanted to mention about Grimm.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't want it to interrupt anything. Like, I went like, well, no, there was one thing, but but anyways, speaking of the game,
Oh wait, there was one more thing. Okay, go on.
I was about to say, oh, you give me a heart attack here. uh, Speaking of the game, when we last talked, we said about this point we should have gotten an update, and like I said, it's the 27th. There's no fucking update. Where the fuck's the game? Hmm? No, nothing, right? But on the
They're
5th,
probably doing some finer adjustments.
here's the thing. On the 15th, we did get a response by the lead game developer of Pixel, and he's like, "Don't worry, guys. There's still going to be a two-parter. It's coming. It's just around the corner. We're just having a little bit of technical difficulties, but just wait a little bit
Yeah,
more. It's coming." And he's like, at this point, you might as well just have it wait until August and then just go September, October with the other updates because he also said that in October we are getting a Halloween update. So at this point, it's like boom, 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 right? And then people will be disappointed in November when there's absolutely nothing. But I'm only assuming when he says technical difficulties, this only tells me that he mentioned this too. He wants to add stuff to the game as far as quality of life stuff is concerned. As far as what quality of life, I have no idea. But apparently, they want to add more stuff to the spaghetti code, and of course, it's not playing well, so they're having problems. And the fact that they don't have a lot of people working on the game just so that they can justify doing updates without having to, you know, do much budget. Like it's weird. Like if you ever run a business, you know this, but most people don't. So all I can simply tell you is that they want to get money so that they can support themselves and the company, the rights holders, without going over budget, right? That's usually what they
right.
mostly want to do. So this is the problem. So they're like, well, we're not really making anything right now, so we're going to have to do this. Fortunately for them, people are still buying stuff on Apple anyways, to the point where it's like last week, or last month I should say, it was like 6,000 came in, and that's just the game not doing any updates. So that's better than nothing, but still, you'd still want something in there. And the problem is because of these weird time update stuff that we don't get anything of, we get this whole lull period of not like almost no content whatsoever. So then it sucks for everything, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, that's the update. By the time this video comes out, hopefully the update finally hits. As far as if we're going to talk about it in the next episode, no idea. It depends on when we're getting it. If we're getting it next week, then great, maybe we will. If not, then I guess it's going to be another update for us to talk about this. So yeah, I guess Halloween we'll be talking about the first part, and then God, this sucks. But what can you do? You can't really do a whole lot. But yeah.
yeah.
But that seems to be it for now as far as stuff goes. So I think we should get to the episode. I think we spent a good half an hour talking about random stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the main topic of this discussion. So, as we were kind of discussing, our main topic is that we usually tend to look at old books, or not old books, old events, and then we
Events.
kind of do our new events. So technically, I mean, yeah, technically they're old books, but age is just an imaginary number that we kind of put
Oh,
ourselves.
finish.
Hmm. I don't know
I was
what I'm
gonna say,
talking.
don't finish that.
I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm just rambling on. I'm tired. Okay, leave me alone. I'm not. What's funny is that although I'm tired, I don't yawn, which is weird. Like I only yawn when I'm doing video stuff. When I'm doing this,
Well,
I
here's a
don't
fun
yawn
fact
at
about
all. But when I'm doing the video stuff, I go, "Oh," all the time. But no. Anyways,
here's a fun.
there's
Well, here's a
only.
fun fact about yawning.
Mmm.
Uh, yeah, because you know you love fun facts.
I love fun facts,
Anyway,
especially when I'm in the middle of a sentence. But please go continue.
sorry, but the reason why we yawn is actually to cool down our brains.
That's cool. And don't worry, it's no problem. The other thing too is that here's another fun fact. Did you know that if you yawn, someone else will yawn too? So if you're ever curious if someone's like staring at you, you just pretend yawn and see if they start yawning. And to be like, oh my God, this guy's staring at me. So that's a cool fact. If you ever are paranoid, you can always try that to see if anyone's actually watching you. It's a weird thing our brain does. But anyways, speaking of, we have school on the brain, despite us not being old enough to. I mean, I guess unless we do college, but I don't want to do that again. So,
Uh,
besides the point, there's only.
college nowadays,
Yeah,
college nowadays is not worth it.
no, especially this top day and age. God forbid. But I digress. Anyways, besides the point, there's only one update that we had in the game that was a school update, and that was the haunted school, and that's what we're going to be talking about. If the beginning bit didn't hint enough, and especially when the future bit's not going to hint enough, so this, yeah, we got that going for ourselves. So let's talk about it. First of all, how do you feel about the adaptation of this book?
I like it.
I do too. I actually, the one thing I love about it is what they did with Chameleon. Chameleon was literally a MacGuffin character in the book. He was just mentioned by name, and that was it. He was like, oh yeah, this photographer, Chameleon. He took pictures and they disappeared, and that was it. No rhyme or
Yeah.
reason, no reason why. Just that's what he did. So I was like, okay, cool. So they basically was working with a slate plate of nothing. So they decided to go fun with it and made what is probably one of the more creepier villains of this game has, to the point where I'm debating if this guy is like the boogeyman of this game because it sounds like it. If not the boogeyman, certainly he's certainly the venom of this game at least, especially how he
Oh, yeah.
talks. Because he
And
talks,
that's kind of where you drew the inspiration for the voice of the Shadow Lord.
yeah, kind of. Well, a Shadow Lord because I do good voice of deep, I do the good deep voice. I can only do it for so long though, because because you have to go so deep in your throat, it kind of irritates it because I don't use that part of my voice so much. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's the Doctor Claw voice. Like, I'll get you next time, catch it. Or I'm sure there's another character who does that kind of voice. I'm thinking I want to say a Transformer character does that as well, but I'm not too sure.
I know it's not Megatron.
No, not Megatron. I know that he has a different type of voice. But yeah, no, definitely Dr. Claw for sure. He has that type of voice, the deep raspy voice there. But yeah,
Well, but it almost, but it sounds a little bit more akin to Venom than it does Doctor Claw. I will admit. Now that
I
you brought up Venom.
yeah, certainly. That's why I kind of went with that. And what's funny is when it came to the voice for Chameleon, because he is an old man, and I kind of showed inspiration of what he was kind of based off of. Apparently, it was his look, like the costume he was wearing, is based off of Judge Doom for sure. His old man persona was kind of based off of real life person Charles Darwin because he used to wear a cool fedora hat type of thing. So they kind of built inspiration from that. And
Well, he didn't wear a fedora. He wore a bowler.
a bowler, yeah, but a bowler hat. That's what that was the chameleon was wearing as well. So yeah, I'm sorry, I got a fedora in my brain. It's not that doesn't help that I'm wearing one, but yeah, I do it for the memes.
Milady.
I look good in it though.
Milady.
Screw you. Uh,
I can just like imagine you walk up to somebody, milady.
yeah, with a
Tip your
big
hat.
fat red, like I go big. Like if I ever am morbidly obese and I have grow a beard, I'll be like, it's like God, I hate. I know I don't talk about this very much, but I know some people like watching me for the Horror Oasis slash my Match Island thing, and they had a character named Pixie. He used to just say "milady" a lot, and I'm like, God damn it, stop it! I'm gonna give you a fedora next
Wow.
time you say it.
He's trying to rizz up that girl
Milady.
with his neck.
I love the voice I gave him too. It's so iconic. I love. That's the sad part about that game is I love him. Just, anyways, sorry. Off topic. Let's go back to the game. Chameleon.
Yeah.
Right. Cool villain. Especially his old man talk. But yeah, anyways, his inspiration for his voice was that of Sean Connery. The whole, you do the Sean Connery voice. It's like, oh yes, or if you want to go Bane, like when all you have to do is let's do the Sean Connery voice and then put a face over put your hand over your face and it's like, no one knew who I was, so I put on the mask.
You shouldn't have slept with our wives, Mr.
Yes,
UPS man.
yes, the consequences all very Miss UPS man. You remember that? I love that. That everybody knows that.
I know. It shows like a picture of
I
like
wonder
a
why
Vikes
though
flag
that
with
act.
the UPS man.
I wonder why that actor decided to do that voice for the character Bane. It's just so weird, but okay. It's like he needs to stand
Well,
out.
I mean, it sounds geriatric enough.
I mean, he could have just went the high pitched Elmo voice. It's like, no one knew who I was, so I put on the mask. Kind of like the joke I had with oh God, what's his name again? I can't for the life of me remember it. Jorg, is that it?
Remind me where
George.
York is
Yeah,
again.
it was George. I did George's voice as a high pitch, and I'm just like, yeah, he's muscle bound because he's insecure about his high
Oh,
voice.
George. Yeah.
George. Anyways, sorry about that. Yeah, so Chameleon was an interesting character to decide to do as the villain type, and then we got as a freemium Thalia. And it's interesting because Thalia gave me extreme Fluttershy vibes. And I hate that I had to say that. Because it's like,
With
you know,
like a Twilight Sparkle haircut.
with a Twilight Sparkle haircut and everything, and it's like, where's the yellow? It's like, no, here's the thing. Doesn't, oh no, she had pink hair, not purple, my bad. I mean, if it was pink hair, it totally would, no. What color hair was she? See, I don't know my friendship is magic, so you can't just say I'm a brony. I don't know shit. I know vague shit. I know the internet stuff, but that's about it. I'm very obscure. I don't even watch the episodes per se. I'm familiar with it. I know that Q was in the show as Discord, and he basically played as Q, like as himself as Q. So it's like, yeah, what's the difference there? I don't know, but anyways, it's an interesting character with Thalia because I think I did a good job with her voice as far as reenacting the whole timid type of like very scared. It makes sense for her being in that case, being scared because especially coming out of the world where Chameleon basically resides in, or I should say the Shadow Lord, you know, because I think he's the main crux of it. Makes you wonder how the hell did they meet, right? Like, you wonder if he was always an old man who happened to come into the gray world and then the Shadow Lord basically took over and they became one, or like what happened there? Because obviously he's using him as a vessel.
I have a dark theory as to how it may be the case.
Ooh, I want to hear.
I feel like Grey World is purgatory.
I can see that. I can definitely see
And
that because when you
because
ever
it was
think of purgatory, especially, and it would make sense too, because when you think ghosts, when they kind of in that weird state of weird like haunting type stuff, you would say that they would be in a world that's kind of like it's almost weird too because I'm thinking back there was a video game that is it's like I can't for the life of me remember what this was, but you might know what it is. It's a paranormal game where you and your friends go into these houses and you're supposed to guess which entity is haunting the area by doing these little
Oh, you're talking about
tests.
Phasmophobia.
Plasmaphobia. When you die in that game, you basically come back into that world in this weird, shadowy state, right? So I thought it would be
Yeah.
yeah, no, where Gray World could definitely be that. It's this weird dead space that's kind of like familiar to your world, but not really. It's scary.
Yeah. And if we're going by Dante's Inferno's levels of hell, that would mean that Grey World is the first level of hell, and somehow you can escape from hell.
Which makes sense. You could, yeah, it makes you wonder how Dante got out. Like he was able to just go from first level to all the way down to the last level, where the hell was frozen
In the
over.
last level, which is the Ring of Treachery, he crawled underneath Satan to do it.
So Satan's literally sitting at the door exit.
No, it's not the door exit. He was actually underneath some ice. Like his bottom half is underneath some ice, and Dante managed to squeeze through.
It reminds me of that Smiling Friends episode where hell froze over. It's
Well,
it's
actually, that's
Christmas
a
time in hell.
well. It's funny you bring that up because the Ring of Treachery is actually described as a frozen, barren
Yeah,
wasteland where there are heads frozen into the
yeah.
ice.
Which is funny because it's like think hell frozen over. It's like, yeah, no, at the bottom level of hell, yeah, that is pretty much the place.
But in Dante's Inferno, there's actually nine levels or nine rings of hell.
Yes. All which each one is representative of the seven sins, but then also other
Not, not really, no,
I
because there
mean
is no ring that represents sloth or envy.
no, but they combined them, I think, at some point.
No, they're. Let's see if I can remember. Actually, yeah, let me see if I can remember them all.
You don't have to at the
Uh,
moment. We're getting off topic anyways. But
well, I mean, in case like people are curious, I feel like I should probably just mention this. So the
look,
first one is
Google.
purgatory. Huh?
I was about to say, if
Yes.
people are interested, Google it. Google's your friend.
Well,
Anyways,
I'll
go
just
ahead
make
with
a
it.
really quick list. So there's
Okay.
purgatory,
Yeah.
lust, gluttony, greed, wrath, heresy, violence, fraudulence, and treachery.
Yeah. And I remember correctly, there was also a game called Dante's Inferno, which was made by EA, which was like a God of War like clone, I think. I don't know. There's a lot of games that kind of explore that idea of going to like a hell. Anyways, I guess kind of related, I guess, with Gray World and stuff like that. It's an interesting concept of like a weird thing too, because I was thinking about this. Is just like you know how Stranger Things, the new hot popular thing, and they have the Upside Down as their weird, fucked up, uh, weird world. It's like in Goosebumps,
Yeah.
it's the Gray World, and that's the weird, fucked up place.
Well, it would make sense how like Mr. Chameleon would come across a Shadow Lord because the Shadow Lord isn't really a shadow per se, but he's a demon.
He's a demon that is engulfed in darkness, right? Like he's purposely like no light can shine through him in a sense. And what was weird, interesting about it is that his character design, I ended up kind of, I think, suggested this that I thought if you look carefully when his character kind of goes like his in-game character model, the way that he kind of has his face look like the this disturbed um character, their mascot looking. I don't know why he looks like that, but part of his inspiration and as well as the ghost kids are that of like a bit of the Bendy and the Ink Machine for sure with the weird blob like creature. But the interesting thing about that is that if you look at his arms, there are lights in his arms, and they're supposed to be like kids almost, like the eyes, like almost like the cover art when you see the weird gray. what's weird is that the cover art for Haunted School, I've never paid attention to the idea that, like, what I was looking at was everything was gray, like the color was sucked out. I always thought it was like, oh, it's just the color gray. There's nothing weird about that, except for weird eyeballs in the locker. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
so
remember that.
so they had that kind of concept to kind of thinking that this guy kind of absorbs them into his body. And there's like the life essence. It's like, so he's kind of like the boogeyman of sorts, right? Especially that we really don't know his whole story, like his whole thing. We know that he wants Thalia back because he used to, like, he grabbed her almost 50 years ago, right? Some odd years ago, and she escaped for some reason, which we find out it's because the lipstick thing. And
So that's the killer. And so how it worked was that she was so enthralled by seeing color again that she started drawing with the lipstick. But what she did was she accidentally created a portal back into reality, back to the original world with
yeah,
the lipstick, and
she
uses it
got
to
out of
escape.
purgatory from the magic camera. And I loved the story behind what came to Chameleon, especially with Thalia type of stuff, like the whole um what do you call it? Like Curly's whole shtick when it came to, like, Thalia had her hideout, which was like this weird makeup store that got out of business, and Curly's just like, here's a fun story about economics. What happens if you were to update, like, have a makeup store in the middle of a town filled with monsters? Oh, good thing this store is here. I could put
I
on fake
mean,
makeup and all that. Yeah, and
just because there's a town full of monsters doesn't mean they don't want to look nice or anything. I
yeah,
mean,
I know
come on.
that. It just mean the ignorant people come in there thinking that they're in a normal town, but not. They're not the weirdos who come in, especially because of the monsters. It's like, oh boy, a monster's coming in. I can't wait to sell them. They probably saw Snowball and ran for the hills
Or
after.
any other monster for that matter.
Yeah, Nila, Nila.
Yeah,
God,
yeah. The
Mr.
fucking
Incoming
poor
guy.
Luke just
Oh,
walks into
he's
the
also a
store, wants to
bully
buy lipstick or some shit.
for his
Nila!
for his sister Neela. It's like, give me. It's like, brother, give me makeup. He's like, Neela. And he goes off. He's like, Neela. He's like, ah! And he runs off. He's like, confused. He's like, he grabs
Brother,
what
I
he
need you
needs and
to
he
go
just
to the
walks off.
store.
He stumbles away. And then he
Brother,
gets
I
the
need you
bandage.
to pick up some makeup for me. Nila!
Neela.
Go, my brother.
No, this is the wrong lipstick.
This is the wrong
And it's a
shade,
hard.
brother.
He takes a long time to
Nila!
walk, right? So he goes back. He's just like, I can imagine he wakes up like, no, I said red shade. This is bright shade. Oh, he has to go back.
I wanted peach. I
No.
wanted peach. This is apricot.
Oh. I can only imagine that. I feel more bad for him. Anyways, but he's a family man. He's helping his sister out, despite the sister's kind of
He's a
using him.
family guy.
Yeah.
He's a family guy. Na 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 family guy.
Peter,
Are you there, the man who
I wanted
positively
a
tell you
little
those things
lipstick,
make
not
us
the
a family
fake.
guy?
Anyway,
Hey Lois, remember the time I was on Family Guy?
hey Peter, remember?
Hey Peter,
Hey
remember
Peter,
the time?
I watched the
Remember the
fucking. Yeah,
smoker?
yeah,
Oh, this is worse than the time I was pure Peter Schmidt.
yeah. Carter Peter Smith. I don't want to marry my father. Oh man. Yeah,
No,
how he
just
played.
like divulging in a Family Guy.
Yeah. Mr. Peter Smith. It's like, yeah, that's his thing. It's like, oh, great, I get to be rich and be me. It's like, I don't like this. It's like, I don't want to marry my father. Oh man, I don't really do. This is the worst time that I had been Peter Smith. Peter, you can't be Peter Smith
I don't want
anymore.
you to
Yeah, it's especially like, even though it's very funny, you gotta do it, Peter. Yeah, I love that. Especially someone was animating that. And there was another bit with that with Homer cloning himself.
you were talking to me about that again. It's like, you disrespect me. I'm like, oh my god, two homies. Yeah, that's right. It's like, I cloned myself this morning. I am like, what is God though? It's like, no, you're the clone. Oh yeah, that's right.
I remember this one scene where like Peter does like create all the clones, and amongst the vast
Yeah,
thing of clones, you see
let's
like
go
Peter
for
Griffin.
chocolate flossy milk sticks. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Get rid of Flanders. Okay. Comes back, head of Flanders. He's like, "Ugh." Yeah, and by the way, anything you
Anyway,
do in your house is nice and legal. Oh, Flanders! It doesn't really work if you call him in. Yes, Homer? Get out. Okay. Oakley dokley. Go home. Uh, anyways, we're off topic again. Don't you love this show? We'll keep on going off topic. Anyways,
oh yeah, this is what
the
makes it fun.
characters and story, great. Items, not so much. I don't know what it was. I like the idea concept that it was basically you're taking gray objects and then you're converting them to colored ones, but it sucks that you don't get both of them. You can't just have like you can switch between color and gray because it would have been nice to have like a colored version and then a black and white version. Instead, you just get the one.
But,
So it's like after you colored it, that's it. It's done. No black and white. Sorry.
but Grimm, how are we going to use the color bomb if we don't do that?
Oh yeah, I love the color bomb. That was a suggestion I made. Was I basically saw a TNT, like a bomb, and it's like red, and I'm like a cherry bomb. It's like, oh, let's do this, and they're like, yeah, let's make this a cherry bomb. I love it too. The whole thing was like, here's some colors. Like you can make red and blue, and we'll go, or and then weird color. Like it's, I get the idea too. By the way, especially what was the item that it was called? The s- the not the grand prize per se, because I know that was the statue of the class of what was it?
47.
47. Yeah, the class of 47. But besides that, so I guess that means the game must have been taking place in 1997. I'm assuming. If it's 50 years.
That's debatable now, considering that,
It's a
2020 was
weird
mentioned.
time bubble, okay? It has past stuff, but then for some reason, sometimes future stuff. It depends on the person who forgot, okay? Like, whatever. It's future proof. Like, there's zombies and robots, so why not? Right? But, yeah, anyways, regardless of that, yeah, I know, because they talked about Slappy. So it's like, oh, this 2020 was the worst year. It's just like, no. Why, Slappy? Why? Why? You ruined it.
Slappy, why? Why, Slappy, why? Why?
It's 2020 despite it being 1997. It's stuck in the 90s, but it's still current going on. I don't know what's going on anymore. It's like Garfield. Anyways, yeah, let's not bring that back again. Um,
Like
right.
rat.
Yeah, Lasagna Lover 69 all over again. Speaking of, yeah, someone's just like, we should make a Garfield podcast. It's like, you know what? Yeah, let's do that. I don't know what we'll be talking about, but
Just Lasagna Lover 69 is like, hey everyone, it's
everybody, it's
me,
me.
Lasagna Lover
It
69.
sounds like Mr. Plinkett, like, it's me, Flower 69. Right. This is the most
Funny
disappointing of my
because I was actually
son.
just watching Pet Force on Tubi not too long ago.
Garfield the movie is the most disappointing thing than my son. And what's great about it is that you don't know what Garfield movie could refer to any of them. It's just a Garfield movie.
Just more disappointing than my son. That's a good one.
That's a Mr. Plinkett line, especially when he was doing his Star Wars Phantom Menace stuff. That was the thing he says. In fact, what's funny is that when he was doing the Last Jedi, he said the same thing. It's like, and my son was Ryan Johnson.
Oh, that's
His name
funny.
was Ryan Johnson. It's like, yeah, so it's like funny, but anyways, yeah, Red Letter Media is great. How does it feel to know that all your childhood stuff has died? It feels great.
Uh,
Yeah.
It feels like I'm dying too.
I especially love the bit they do in the beginning of the year. It's a fuck you, it's January. Here at fuck you, it's January. We release all the shitty movies that we didn't have we didn't have the foresight. We didn't believe in these movies, so we just released them in January. I just wanted to say that at one point. It's just like, we get an update. It's like, well, this update sucks. And well, fuck you, it's January. Yeah, but it's besides this particular podcast show, I'm very PG with my words. I mean, I don't, when I do, I have to censor myself, but, you know,
Here.
yeah, I know. Regardless, I'm trying to think what else we can talk about when it comes to this particular update because the items themselves are not really that great. The story was pretty much faithful to the books somewhat. It was interesting though when it came to focusing on Dustin and Marty of all things. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry, Dustin. It's like, what? Who do I have? Oh, great, I got the dweeb.
Which is kind of weird because sometimes those two hang. Like, I
I
don't know if
know.
Marty is just being a dick just for the sake of being a bully, or
Well,
he just doesn't really like Dustin.
this might be, I might have an idea of what it could be, but that's my own fan theory that might come in a little bit later, so stay tuned for that one. But
Let me guess. You think that he's in like some
no,
romantic
God, no,
relationship with him?
no, not like that.
Because
He's
that's what
not.
happened during the Valentine one.
It's not like I like you or anything, Baka. You better not tell anybody this dweeb, or else I'm the Poundville for you. I hate though that
It's weird
he's
because
the character who I hated because he's like, dude, you know where we're living, right? We're living Horror Town. What were you expecting? It's like, shut up. This joke is old. Yeah, but
it's also funny because during that update too, Ricky and Greg actually had a bit of a fling too.
I know everybody had a fling. That's its own topic of its own discussion of controversy. God, they just.
Yeah.
It's like, I love this
They
piranha
went all out
person.
with
I love the piranha person. Mwah. Yeah.
random piranha person just gets thrown in
Oh God. Yeah, but that was funny because
there.
it's like Chuck did turn into a piranha person, so it made sense. And then the piranha person was freaked out too. It's just like, you know, we were doing that. It's just like I don't know how, but we were. It's like, what were they doing? I want to know. Actually, I don't want to know, but I'm curious. My curiosity says I do.
But
Anyways,
anyway, back to haunted school.
yeah, we can tell. Can you tell that this update was great? Like we've been talking about everything but the actual thing in question because school's boring, man. I don't want to talk about the
The only
update.
thing I will say, the only thing I will say though, is like during the event, I was constantly playing another brick in the wall.
Yeah, I know. They had so much fun with that, by the way. Like the brick in the wall. They had I want to say Alice Cooper maybe, but there's another parody. Oh, that's what it was. It was Painted Black. That was the
Oh,
other thing they mentioned, and I was like, oh fuck off. You can't help yourself, can you? But to be fair, my next
remind me which one that one was again.
huh?
Remind me which one that one was again. Painted black.
One of the updates, one of the special requests was called Another Brick in the Wall, which is you get to do the brick. But then there's another one called Painted Black, which was, I think, I can't remember what item it was, but I know that was another name for the thing. And Painted Black is a Rolling Stones song.
Oh,
I see a red
wasn't it just like the
cars
black
and
paint
they're
can?
all painted black. No color
Wasn't it just the black
anymore.
paint
I
can?
want it painted black. It's a very famous song, I'll say.
Wasn't it just the black paint can though?
Yeah, there is a Bland Paint Can, but I meant like the request they name dropped it, right? Like they made lots of references to songs like that because they can't help themselves. They have to make references about everything. Just like
I
my
mean, to be
topic coming
fair,
up. So don't worry about that. If you think you're sick about this now, don't worry. It's gonna get worse.
I do like making references myself.
If
Like
they
for
were
example, the
just if
Grimms.
they're justified, yes. Sometimes they're not.
Yeah,
Sometimes they're so stupid, and I hate it,
I
especially
mean,
when they're puns about it. It's just like, oh, come on.
I love puns. Puns are punny.
They're funny. Gotta get the funny. I know, but
I
sometimes
love puns.
they're cringe. You can't help it. Sometimes it's like you're reading it and you
Even
go,
if
oh
they
god.
are even if they are cringe, I love a good cringe dad joke type humor.
You love Curly then, because that's all he does.
Oh yeah. Like
Especially my
I
Curly
know
coming up, I'll like I'm faithful. I do the punnies as well because I know what the kids like, the skibbity toilets
I
and
know that
God forsake whatever
ugh,
else, what other cringe
I know
rot,
that
brain rot they got going on there. And by
oh
the way, did
yeah.
you know that
I know
apparently they're
that
making a skibbity toilet movie? They're talking about
I
it. Like,
heard
how? How are you gonna make that? How are you gonna turn that into a
uh,
thing? Gmod asked it. Yeah, no, this is a thing now.
I don't like them making a fucking Skibidi Toilet movie. That's so stupid. Like I remember I was watching like a YouTube video
It's
of
like the Slender Man movie. It's like they won't know what the whole thing about. They're just gonna make it and they just think people are gonna just watch because it has the name in it. And to be
I
fair,
know
I don't
that
know how the hell that blew up because people started making figures and stuff about it. Like there was a birthday party where someone had a Skibbity toilet costume. It's just like, what the fuck am I looking at?
I know
Skibbity
that
toilet
I
syndrome.
was I know that I was watching like a YouTube video of like spooky ghost videos. Like these are the ones that like actually genuinely question the existence of like maybe there are ghosts and shit.
Yeah,
But like there was like this one where like this little girl was just like fucking talking about Skibidi Toilet and like there's like a really creepy shadow creature going around the background and she went to go investigate it. And I swear to God, most of the comments of that video was like the most scariest thing about this video is the fact that she has Skibidi Toilet toys.
I
And I
hate it
know this
too
video.
because this whole Skibbity toilet, like the Skibbity music was. I remember it from um the guy who has this weird, like he's big and fat but he had the belly is like skibbity bop 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 skibbity up skip. He was able to kind of jiggle his belly in a certain way. It's like it's weirdly like what is it? It's like the Simpsons bit when Homer's running is just like his fat is just jiggling. It's just like I can't stop watching. It's hypnotic.
It's
Skibbity bop 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 skibbity up. Yeah, it's interesting. He's interesting about that.
it's like watching Hypno Toad.
Yeah, exactly. The Hypnotoad. All hail the Hypnotoad. Yeah. Anyways, I'm trying to think what else we could talk about with this topic. I mean, it would be
Wait,
more
why did
so with
we?
the story, though, right? Because I think we briefly talked about it. No, we didn't even briefly talk about it. I mean, we kind of did. No, I don't
Call
even
me a
remember.
forgetful little coot, but how did we talk about Skibidi Toilet again?
I have no idea. We're just rambling on for God knows how. It just happens.
I don't know.
Sometimes we're in the middle of a thought, and then all of a sudden this popped in. So I don't know. We'll
Damn,
probably watch back the
I
comp.
don't
We'll
remember how
watch
we
it
did.
back and go, ah, that's how it happened. Like everything.
I don't
Anyways,
remember
I
how
guess
the fuck we did that.
I don't
We
know.
were talking about the haunted school, and then we just talked about Skibidi Toilet.
The
What's
magic
wrong
of
with my brain?
it's brain rot, man. It's brain rot. What do you expect? Like what's going on
Oh
later?
man,
But yeah. So haunted school. I love the story. I love the characters for sure. Um, It was interesting too because Chameleon just kind of came in there and started taking pictures of stuff. He's like, "Oh, this is going to disappear. This is going to disappear." And like, "Oh, egg salad. I'm going to do you a favor." Who will eat this?
I'm going to do everyone here a favor. Just,
I'm going to take
take a
rid
look.
of this. Actually, this brings it to his world. It's just like, oh god, what did I think of? Like, what was I thinking? But what's funny about it too is
Now it
at some
just
point he's
reminds me
like,
of like the Jim Carrey
kids,
Grinch.
oh yeah, it's a shadow thing. Hey kids, isn't this horrifying? And then the kids are like, no, you're not. You're supposed to be scared. What? Go away.
I feel like the more you do that now, I'm just reminded of like Jim Carrey's Grinch.
Uh, Speaking, I love. There was that one quote, like they were doing a Sonic interview with him, and he's just like, he was remembering at one point where um the girl his what was it? The mom was talking to the kid. It was like, you know who that is? That's the Grinch. And all of a sudden, he just does the Grinch face, and he's like, I must stop Christmas from coming. And then she was surprised that he was able to do the face. But what's funny is I remember the edit of that when he does the face. All of a sudden, you hear the famous Donald having a stroke fart. If you know that one, it's like a lot of people use that
Um,
meme. It's like this
I
woman
don't know what that
farting,
is.
and apparently people just kept using it every time they want to put a funny fart noise. I use it.
Oh,
I use it as well. So, but yeah. Anyways, it's just like it's one of those funny other. It's the nerf this part, if you remember that. Nerf this.
oh God, I remember that.
I remember too that there was a thing where God, what was his name? The guy who's like,
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
that. You know that guy, right?
I know.
I'm trying to
Yeah, I'm
remember what his
familiar with
name
him,
is.
but I also don't know his name.
There's a edit where he's eating in his car and all of a sudden he starts looking behind him, right? Like that weird schizophrenic kind of thing. Someone did an edit of
Yeah.
that, but then it's like as soon as the fart happened, he just looks behind him. It's so fuck me. That's so bad.
Another meme I really liked is with the one where like William Afton is trapped in a fucking room while the building is on fire.
Michael,
It's like, Michael,
don't leave me here.
don't leave me
I
here.
did I did that joke in the when I was reviewing the event 101 for the Circus of Fear. Michael, don't leave me here. Michael, Michael, help me. The clown face
I saw like
behind
this,
him. You
I
come
saw
with
the
me,
like
Michael.
I saw the SFM one version. It was like really funny. He just like turns around to look back at him before banging on the door again. It's Michael, Michael.
Yeah, that's the funny part about it. It's just like he's in hell. Rightfully deserved, by the way, but still.
Oh yeah.
What the especially that version of him, the what was it, Poppy? God, what did they call? Like, what did they made fun of Burnt Trap? I don't know what the hell they refer to him as. It's like
Oh, they named him Peepaw Willie.
Peepaw Willie. That's it. Peepaw Willie in the wheelchair.
I love Peepaw Willie. He's my favorite version of the Springtrap.
Yeah,
I used to
and then
kill
I think
children back in my day. Sure
they
thing, Peepaw. Let's get you back to your chair.
yeah, I remember that. Especially since they tried to write. I hate what they did with that game, by the way. I hate, like, they had this interesting, like, they were going to be like, oh, you see this new character, Vanny? She's going to be the new villain. But it's like, nah, Burn Trap again. And then everyone hated it. So they're like, oh, no. Willie Afton is dead. This is dumb mimic. Yeah, it's for the ruined pot. Yeah, it's just like, hey, remember in the books there was something called the mimic? Yeah, there it is. Look, guys, there it is. I love it, the Mr. Beast joke.
Mr. Beast!
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. See, we just go off. We talk about one thing and we go off to do another thing. I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about when it comes to the haunted school, and a lot of people are disappointed. They'll be like, "You didn't talk about anything. You talked random shit."
Yeah.
And then it's like, nah. There's not much else to talk about with this update. It's just like there's
That's kind of probably why we're divulging into like all these weird different topics that have nothing to do with the event.
because the event is so boring. It's
Well, it's
not
not that it's
cool.
boring. It's just that
No, the
it's
story
not.
is great, but the items suck, and it wasn't really much interest. I think the animations were okay for the most part. I did like the whole that wait, I'm trying to think if there's any part of the story that yeah, the story was okay for what it was, but there wasn't any real standout moments that made us go, oh yeah, that moment right there, that's a classic Goosebump moment. But
I think the only thing I liked when it comes to like the animations is when Chameleon quote unquote dances with himself. Like you see
yeah,
his shadow doing like weird
they're
jig
doing the
and
weird.
shit, but meanwhile,
Yeah, he's doing the
like
Dr. Facilier dance, and then he's just kind of doing the whole foot tapping thing. I love
or
it
better yet,
too.
he's like dancing like the fucking goth kids from South Park.
Yeah, I know. Or like the weird, yeah, it's or Charlie Brown dancing kind of thing going on there. But
Well,
no,
no, I think
the
it's more
shadow,
appropriate for
anyways.
like the goth kids because
Yeah, the goth
because
kids
the
is
goth
just not.
kids barely
Yeah,
dance at all because
yeah.
they just have their hands to their sides and just like
I
looking
love
down
that
to the
one of
ground.
his animations is a reference to a Simpsons meme.
Oh,
Him fading into the background. It's like he's hiding in this what do you call it
oh yeah, the bushes.
the bushes. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That animation was
I
fun.
remember that meme.
Yeah, taking a photo. I mean, that was okay for the most part. I'm trying to think what other things he has or what he did. I'm trying to think because I know the dancing one. Oh yeah, the
I
shadow
love the
puppet
dance.
one. The shadow puppet one was interesting. It's just like here's a little bunny, here's a thing, and "Arr!" scary face.
Yeah, that was based on Killer Clowns from Outer Space, wasn't it?
That was yes, that was definitely what it was based around. With the whole with the little shorty was doing a little puppet thing, and then it's like the big T-Rex, and the T-Rex shadow eats the eats the actual crowd.
No, actually, I don't think it was Shorty because I remember Shorty. He was in the alleyway with some other clowns, and or no,
Well,
he
Shorty,
was
I know
alone actually.
Shorty knocked the guy's block off. I know that one, but
No,
there was another clown that did that. Speaking of, wasn't there? Isn't there
yeah,
now a clown like Death by Daylight game out now?
yeah, and they also have their own game too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just like it's like one v what do you call it? It's Dead by Daylight version of game. You know, the whole
Yeah,
there's clowns and then there's humans and then it's like it's an interesting concept.
I
I
mean,
do
who
dig
wants to
that,
be a
but.
human? Like,
Hmm?
let's be real. Who wants to be a human?
Nobody. Especially, I have to look into.
Exactly.
I really have to look into the whole clown stuff. I do appreciate the fact they're like, "Hey, we got female clowns. We got you, buddy. All different shapes and sizes, not just the two that you see
Yeah,
in the
for all you
movie."
creepy pervs out there who like the clown, who like that clussy.
Yeah. Oh God, that reminds me of that one joke. I don't know who the creator was, the animator who did the it's like
Awooga! I've got a bad case of clussy fever, and I want to make Whoopi with her cushions.
Order, Mr. Edgeworth! Order!
I order
YouTube.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the
put her butt, her whole butt, and nothing but her butt on my face.
Oh.
Objectifying.
objectifying.
Yeah. I want to tell her whoopee cushions. I'm trying to remember what that was, but I remember it was a Phoenix Rice parody, and it's just like,
Yeah, yeah.
who put this whoopee cushion here? It's like, wait, that's what we're going for? Wait, that's why I'm here?
Gotcha. Oh, I don't know. I thought your burning the school bus prank was pretty funny. I got you now, you little fucking bitch.
Damn it. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, especially that. Yeah, but everyone after they saw that animation, everyone just had Plessy fever all of a sudden. It's just like that. This is like
Yeah,
and it's weird because there was actually a character who was that in the actual
yeah,
game, and she was the one who ended up. It was weird because it revealed that her big honkers was actually balloons.
yeah.
Because at the end it popped, and it's just like, yeah, no, the reveal is like, yeah, you were the
I got a
killer.
case.
Yeah, I knew it. You were the killer.
I got a case of clussy fever,
Yeah, I
and
got
I
it.
want her, and I want her
Oh,
butt, and nothing but her butt to sit on my face.
what was it? It's just like, it's like, God, there was another animation with this person's just like a clown, right? It's just like,
Nice titties. Mind if I,
And she starts laughing. My God, I'm trying to. All right, you know what? You keep talking, and let me try to see if I can find it.
Oh damn! I was put on the spot.
Yeah, go ahead. You entertain the audience. I'm trying to find something here.
Oh damn.
All right.
So how about the new thing these kids are into these days, huh? What's up? What's up with that? And what's with the Skibidi Toilet? It's a head in a toilet.
What's up
What's
with
so funny
that?
about that?
Yeah.
I don't know. What's with the people with the TVs for heads? Where's the remote control? I want to watch something better.
Oh, you know what's horrible? I just realized this while looking at this is that there was also someone who made an edit where. Are you familiar with Johnny Bravo?
Yeah.
There was an episode where he was on a plane and he was getting attacked by a clown on the like it was basically a parody of a terror of 500 feet, right? So
Yeah.
instead of a gremlin on the plane, it was a clown, right? And I think there was like this whole episode series was a parody off of Twilight. But at one point he's just like, in case of clown, pull on this, and it's like this female clown, right? And
Yeah.
what was the joke on that is the fact that what do you call it? God, I'm trying to think. Anyways, he does pull the thing, and then the clown comes out, right? And originally they were using the clown to get the other clown, like basically to grab him and kind of flush him down the toilet, right? But instead of that,
Yeah.
what they did was they edited it in the point where it almost looks like he saw the female clown, and then he goes into the bathroom and he starts making whoopee. The best way to describe it.
By the way, the animator is Speedoru.
Yeah, that's who it is, Speed Door. By the way, didn't he do an animation series right now, which is what was it?
Punch Punch Forever.
Punch Punch Forever. I love that series, especially the recent episode they got.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that
They
makes
recently
sense. Yes.
they recently released a second episode called My Little Slasher.
I love, by the way, the jokes they put out there, like especially with like near the end is like, I hate animating water. Like visual gags as well as all that stuff. It's just like, I wonder where she is. You go per turnover and you see like these like like you obviously can stand out like trees that were not a part of the background,
Yeah.
and then she's in the background. Yeah.
That's always the funniest shit when it comes to that sort of thing.
Yeah, he has fun with it, and I love that he puts it like he makes it feel like it's like he makes the authentication of the fact that it feels like an old 90s 80s-esque anime, right? That they just brought over, but it's parody in the sense of it has the internet humor in there, which I love. So
It makes sense to make it like an 80s anime, considering that they're using like a parody of like an 80s character in the sense of like Jason Voorhees.
yeah, I feel like we're getting too much off topic, but
I mean, we don't
go
really
for it.
have anything else to talk about in terms of haunted school, so yeah.
Yeah. I think we should end it then, I guess. For God's sake, I can't for the life of me remember what it was. It's just like, I swear to God, it was this joke where there was a person who dressed up like Ronald McDonald, a female clown, who's just like, the joke was that she grabbed her boobs and it was like, and then she started laughing like midway.
Okay, now I'm just reminded of this one thing. So there was this, I think it was a TikTok. I don't remember. I don't really watch TikTok, but I saw this on YouTube, and it was like this guy. He was recording, and he was like, "You know what? I'm really disappointed at McDonald's right now. I asked for a Coca-Cola, and all they gave me was fucking clown juice." And he moves the straw around, and it sounds like
It
a
was-
horn honking, like.
Yeah, I was about to say that it wasn't Coca-Cola, it was Sprite. Like he said it like Sprite, but he gave me clown juice.
Yeah, I did that same joke with my friend, and she started laughing so hard. I was
It's
like,
funny how
you know what? I'm really
that you
upset.
can make that sound like that. It's just like, that's the best. You know, they fucked up my
So-
drink order. I wanted Sprite, but they gave me clown juice. Um,
uh,
anyways,
I
I
guess
think,
that I
yeah.
guess now this is just going to be a fucking clown episode.
Yeah, and we already had one of those before. It's a circus
Just
all
name the
over
fucking
again.
video "Clussy Fever."
Oh no. We should probably move on to our next topic before we get too into it. Oh God. All right. Give us a moment to chill out and then we can come back to this. Okay, give us a second. And by the way, sorry for all
Let's get
those
into
fans
it.
of the haunted school. I'm sorry. All right, it's time to stop clowning around.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to clown around
Ah.
with Lunette and Molly, a clown and her dolly on a big comfy couch?
All right, we get it. All right. The class is in session. Quiet down. It's time for old Grimmy boy to tell you another tale of horror as far as going back to school goes. If you don't recall, the last clip we decided to show off as a teaser was a Simpsons clip of Homer shooting Flanders, confused that he was actually a zombie. And for those who don't know, that was coming from Treehouse of Horror episode, Treehouse of Horror 3, I believe, and that was in season 4. And that was in Dial as Z for Zombie, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, my Simpsons trivia. And what was interesting about that particular topic is that, yes, this is a zombie book, but it deals with school. Though,
Oh,
there's,
see how it all ties in together?
I know, see, it's like sometimes I use my brain to think about topics of discussions of what to kind of pull in to make you think what's the next episode going to be. And before I go ahead and continue what the review of what this is, I will state this. Someone in the comments has basically pointed something out ever since we started our first episode. It's like, have you ever noticed how every odd number was a original Goosebumps book and every even number was a Give Yourself Goosebumps book? And I'm like, oh, fuck, he's right. So far, it's just been that way. But not today! Oh no! This isn't an original Goosebumps book or a Choose Your Own Adventure. This is actually a Most Wanted book. That entitled Why I Quit Zombie School. That's right, we're going back to Zombie School this time around. And it's interesting because there is another book that's called Zombie School, but it is a Choose Your Own Adventure. But that has a different type of zombie in particular. This is the dead zombies we all know and love. We all know and love them, right? The rotting
Yeah.
corpses that need love too. But anyways, we'll try to go speed run this
The
as
thing
fast
that
as
made the thing that made George Romero famous.
yes, yes. Especially Pittsburgh for sure. I think that's where he came from. But anyways, with that in mind, we're gonna try to speed run this as fast as possible because I don't want to take too much of your time. I think it's like an hour or so already. And we're trying to keep it in under 2 hours. So far we've been doing good, but we'll see what ends up happening. But let's go ahead and continue. So first things first, I should probably talk about the character that we're be getting in this book, right? That would
Yeah.
be Franny Roth, which is one of the characters in the original book that the main character meets, who turns out to be a zombie herself. But she ends up helping the kid in some way. I think, if I'm remembering my story correctly, because it's been so long. But bear with me on it.
It's been so long since last I've seen my kid.
Yes, we all
Lost
know
to
that.
this monster.
So she comes in her called Franny's laboratory. I don't know how it looks, but I'm thinking like a Frankenstein like. But the reason why I say Frankenstein like is because it'll make sense to how she looks as a character, like when I describe it in the storybook. I kind of told vampires vaguely about it, but we'll see what he ends up visualizing because of his creativity after giving him some ideas, right? But anyways.
Because I'm the creative one.
Yes, and I'm the uncreative one. I'm the guy who I'm the idea guy.
Well, I'm the more creative one because I
Oh,
could
shut
draw.
up. I could be creative too, then. I made an update. You didn't. So who's creative who? Anyways, no.
No,
But
that's usually something I usually tease with my friends. It's like, oh, I'm the creative one, only on the virtue that I can draw.
Yes, I have a bit. I
Because none of my other friends can fucking draw.
I have a DVR page. Do you? I have a big channel with a lot of subscribers. Oh, yeah. It reminds me of the Simpson clip. Like, I sleep in a racing car. Do you? I sleep in a big bed with my wife. Oh, yeah. Anyways, sorry. So let's get on to the crafting shop. So the crafting shop this time is called the Survival Trailer. And if you're wondering what that is, you ever know in schools how they have those trailers, those side trailers, school like buildings that's like reserved for like classrooms? You know what I'm talking about, right? You've had this before?
Uh, Vaguely.
They're
My
like
memory's not the best.
they're like classrooms but outside the school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those trailers. So it's like that, but it's
Well,
like almost
I
like
wouldn't
it's been
exactly call them trailers per se because that's kind of
well,
misleading.
like
Because
trailer
they're not
park.
on
Like when
wheels
you
or
think of a
anything; they're
trailer
stationary.
park, those are trailers, despite not being on wheels, but they are considered to be called trailers. So it is. I don't know
I
if
guess
there's a
that's true.
I don't know what their particular name of, but those things. Just imagine them like a post-apocalyptic, like kind of like Bob Wires, and almost like someone like a poor human took residence in there and tried to like border up as if like it's a, you know what I mean? Like it's a like a human survival.
Like Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, basically like Left 4 Dead or those weird zombie survival games. You know those ones, the ones that keep
Yeah, I
advertising it
know.
too much. But yeah, anyways, over that. So the event currency we'll be collecting to level up the funny bar is rotten apples. Now, for the rotten apples, I imagine them like they could take the assets for the apples we have right now, but I imagine them being kind of like skull shape in a sense, like it bitten, right? But it's kind of like skull shape rotten, and it has a worm out, like, you know what I mean? You could make it look like scary. I guess the Adams did something similar to this in their update last year when they did a school update, which was in like Welcome to Cage School. So
Okay, so when you say that the apple has like a skull shape, the first thing that came to mind, are you familiar with a game called Wizard 101?
yes, I think I mentioned and showed this off a bit. Yeah,
Okay, so they had like a little bundle thing called the Ever After bundle,
yeah.
and one of the items was a weapon called the Poisoned Apple, and that's exactly what that is, basically. It's an
It
apple
almost
that's shaped like a skull.
Yeah, because I was thinking it kind of like how the Wicked Witch when she's giving the Snow White the apple, she dips in, it's like a skull thing. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like that,
Yeah,
but
made
like
with the
bitten.
goo.
Yeah, like something like that. And somebody actually did do a drawing of that. Some like again, you have an idea what I'm talking about. So there's a visualization of it. So it's easy to kind of think, okay, rotten apple looks like this, got it, kind of thing. I'm sure
Okay,
you're
so
clear. Hmm?
just to be clear, just because I'm kind of stupid, are you saying that the apple itself should just be shaped like a skull, or are you talking about like the same goopy skull-like figure appearing on the apple, like Snow White?
I thought you were the creative one, but okay. No,
I'm trying to understand what you're thinking here.
it's it's like it's like the it's no white droopy thing, but it like bitten almost like the top part is like,
Okay,
like
okay,
you
I
bang
get it.
into an apple and there's a core of it, kind of like thing like that, but it's like the top part is like reserved, so it's like the skull of it almost, right? Like imagine the apple's like a skull, like an actual full skull, but it's losing its jaw, so it's like the top. I don't know, like I'm sure whatever you draw is probably great, and I'll be like, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of. I'll let you
I
decide.
mean,
I'm just
I'll
giving you
definitely try. I
suggestions.
mean, I'm getting like mixed ideas here, but
Whatever you think is the best and easy to draw, you go for it. I'll be fully supportive of it. That's like anything in the games. Like
sounds great.
when they go ahead and tell the drawers, like, I want you to draw the character that kind of looks like this, and they're like, all right, is this good enough? It's like, yeah, that's good enough. Like, that's all they do. Anyways, the raw items, so the items we collect to craft stuff, is going to be brains. Because, of course, they talk about zombies update. We can't have brains. Especially for school, you need those
Okay,
brains to think, right?
do you want it just a brain, or do you want it in like a jar or something? Like,
Well, the jar, I was thinking of doing another item coming in, but you can just have it like, you could be like, You know how zombies eat Plants vs Zombies when the zombies eat your brains and it's just like a plate of the brain on there? I'm thinking kind of like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, okay. So you just want like a plate of brains.
Basically, yeah. Or a plate of a brain. Or I don't know, I don't know, you could do something fun with it. We could make it monkey
Okay, okay,
brains for
I
all
get
we know. Monkey brains. Uh,
it.
anyways, so I'm doing my usual thing where it's like how I've been doing it before. So there's basically different topics. So the first part, I don't know what you call this theme, but I'm gonna say it's as the um the experiment, I guess, is what I refer to this section as. All right. So the first
Okay.
thing you craft is something called Abe Norman's head. And you might be thinking, who the hell is Abe Norman? It's a joke.
Oh, oh, if you were actually going to go for like a reference, Wizard 101 actually did one where there's like this little pet creature called the Brainy Assistant, and he was holding a jar that had Abby N on it,
Yeah. Yeah, so you
and
know
like
exactly
it was
where I'm
supposed to be a
going with
reference to
it.
like
You know
I think it was
exactly where
Young
I'm going with
Frankenstein.
this. Because the zombies are stupid, and they call it the Abnorman's brain. And
But the
it's a
brain,
bit of a young Frankenstein joke where it's just
yeah,
like, you promise you won't get mad? No, I won't get mad. It's like Al. Al who? Normal. Al
no,
normal.
no, it was
You
Abby. It was
Abby
Abby.
normal. You mean to tell me I put an abnormal brain in a giant 70-foot tall monster? You stupid son.
It's like
Yeah.
Abby something,
Yeah.
Abby
Hey
something.
who?
Yeah,
Abby
Abby
who?
something.
Normal. Abby normal. You mean to tell me you put me in an abnormal brain? You didn't bring the brain I wanted, did you? No, no. Who brain did you put in? Promise you won't get mad? I promise I will not get mad. I it's like Igor?
Abby
No, it's
something.
pronounced Igor. Great movie, by
It's
the
like
way.
I
I
thought it
love
was
that.
Igor.
No,
Well, I guess you were wrong
it's
about
like
that.
Frankenstein. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Igor.
Frankenstein.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I love that movie. It's great. Anyways, so yeah, I can only imagine it kind of like a Futurama brain, except it's like no a Futurama head jar, but it's with a zombie head in there. Like you can do cartoony zombie, or you can have fun with it. Like you can, I don't know, whatever you feel is fun to put in there. I'll be creative with it, or you be creative with it. I'm giving you full creative control. How about that?
Fair enough. But I do just want like a basic idea of what you're going with, just so I have like a reference to work on.
Okay, so I'm assuming kind of like how imagine a zombie it's like a zombie head, but it's kind of like the head's kind of like the tongue sticking out kind of thing like this, and it has no brain almost in a sense. Like it's like the head. I don't. I'm trying to think visually because I don't really know. I just kind of think of like a zombie head inside a a weird pickle jar in a sense, right? Almost like I guess the best point is this, like how in the Young Frankenstein book there's like freshly cut like 50 days, weeks, and then it's just like that kind of thing. Different cuts of heads and how it looks, kind of like a zombie
Oh,
type of
like
head.
state of decomposition.
Yeah, yeah. So kind of imagine something in the sense of like a cartoony version of like a head, like a deformed kind of like freshly cut head, almost type of like that, without it being too morbid. I guess kind of like as cartoony as you can get. I guess like a Futurama head in a jar type of thing. I guess to be the
No, I
best
get you.
bet.
I'll probably give them the same expression as like anybody under the influence of like the brain slug.
That's probably the best bet. Like kind of have like the eyelid kind of down, like one kind of like almost like the zombies and the zombies versus Plants versus Zombies kind of thing, where they're like one eye down,
Well,
one
they're
eye up.
just all like, yeah, they're just basically wide-eyed and all
Yeah, and then
that.
and then you have the tongue sticking out, and be like like dead kind of thing. I only imagine. So
They don't stick out their tongues. In fact, you barely see them use their tongues at all.
I know I'm just again. I guess it's more hard to do that. So okay, I'll believe you on that one.
Well, it's not that hard to do. It's just, I'm just putting out facts because, I'm a stickler for that sort of shit.
Yes, yes, we all know. You're showing your brains. I'm sure the zombies would love you. Anyways, so the next part to this experiment collection is something called, in quotations, donated organs. So I imagine this to be like a health, almost like a first aid box. Not a first aid box, but you know those ice boxes, you have those parts in there. I can imagine like there's
Oh, yeah.
the different body parts in there, and then like a hand's kind of like hanging out of the box, almost like like almost like it's been.
Well, it's not really an organ if we're having arms out of a box, right?
Well, it's an arm can be an organ. It's an important organ.
Well, skin can be an organ, but not an arm.
An inconvenient organ, indeed. But you know what? I'm just trying to think. The stuff like I get no, just different organ parts. How about that? Like different organ parts inside a bot. I'm sure you could think of something visually kind of similar. I can imagine it being like a frozen ice box, but kind of stuffed to the brim of like kidneys and like weird stomachs and esophagus and lung. I don't know, like something similar to that. It's hard to kind of come up with ideas like this without it kind of going like, "Whoa, this is a kids game. This is too gross." But then again, this is the
Wait,
same
wait,
game. This is the same game that basically gave us a heart in a box, a realistic heart in a box.
wait. The donated organs. How do you make that?
I don't know. Just use the brains and blobs. How about that?
Brains and blobs.
Why not?
Okay, well, how do you make the brains?
The brains, that's the raw items.
I thought that was the apple. No, wait, no,
No,
that's the
the
currency.
apple is the thing you collect to make the funny number go up so you can get the prizes. That's the event currency. That's not the raw
Yeah,
item.
it just dawned on me now.
There
I
you go.
forgot that was
Okay.
the. Sorry.
All good?
I'll be honest. Like, I have someone typing to me in the background and during this recording, and
Distractions. Tell them that you're
well, it's
busy.
not just he tried calling me earlier. I don't know if you a bit earlier, but he tried calling me on Messenger, and that kind of just screwed up the audio output for me. So I can
So
like
you
sort of
hear
barely hear you.
you hear that, friend? If you're listening to this podcast, you ruined it for him. Just know that. Anyways, the
Anyway, yeah. How do you make the right brains is a raw item? The donated organs, you said brains and just blob.
yes, the blobs.
I know it's a little bit controversial, but since they're in an ice box, why not just use Snowball?
Yeah, fine. That and snowballs then. We can just have the blobs be for the head.
Yeah, and is especially if you have like the fucking ice freezer from Egg Monsters from Mars, that's easy farming right there.
Yeah, there you go. There we go. That you don't have to use the abominable snow monkey anymore. Anyways, you take that, you take Abe Norman's head, the donated organs, and the brain to make this final part, which is
Wait,
called the. Hmm?
how do you make the abnormal head?
We already said it's going to be the blobs this time.
I thought that was the organs.
No, we changed the organs to be ice. The
Oh,
snowballs.
okay.
Yeah. You're all good now?
Yeah, I think I'm caught up.
Okay, cool. I'm just making sure, man. All right. So take Abe Norman's head, donated organs, and brains to make something called the project. And the project is basically what I imagine to be a body bag, right? And this is where the hand this is where the hand sticks out, right? So it's basically a body bag zipped up, but then the hand's kind of sticking out from it. So it's like a mystery what this thing is. And this is gonna make sense for the final thing, so don't worry about that.
Okay.
You all good?
Yeah.
Anything about that, or you're no?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I guess we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Okay. So this next one, I'm trying to think what to call this groups of items. I'm guessing more supplies or school supplies. I'm thinking like
I mean,
knowledgeable.
if it's going to be a back to school thing, then yeah, surely you have to have school supplies. I mean, come on.
School supplies in quotations, but anyways, so take brains, and then you get the common book. Like I'm trying to think what the comic book is. The one that drops the most. Like Lucy has an animation that does this. I know there's two different books, but there's one that's easy to craft. It's a classic novel, I think, or is it? Because there's two
Yeah,
different books to yeah. So I'm thinking the classic novel is the easy one, and then there's another one that's a little harder.
yeah. The other one I think is called
See, we experts know
classic horror
everything.
novels.
Yeah, we experts know a whole lot, but you get it. It's the easy book. So the easy book plus the brains gives you something called Zombie 101, which I can only imagine it to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's basically kind of like a how-to for dummies, but it's actually for like for the zombies because they're stupid. So they're like, like a zombie kind of looking, going, or how you could
Or
be
better yet,
lazy. You could take the artwork for the the why I quit zombie school and like put that there and be like, yep, that's good enough.
well, I was gonna actually like maybe put in a Plants vs Zombies reference.
Yeah, yeah. Like I know you do the effort. I just mean that if we're going realistic here, that's probably what they would have done. Been like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, done. My hands are done. My hands are washed on that. So, anyways, so we got that going on. Um, then we have the brains with the energy drinks, which I believe that's what they're called, right? The energy drinks?
Sports drink.
Sport drinks. Okay, sports drinks. So you add those two, and it makes you call something called embalming tonic. Embalming tonic, I think it's what it's referred to as.
Oh, I think you mean like embalming ichor.
Yeah, something like that. But it's a tonic, so it's like a sports drink, but embalming fluids
With formaldehyde.
for formaldehyde. That's a great flavor. All right,
Yeah,
so
that's the selling point. Formaldehyde.
yes.
Now with more formaldehyde.
Oh, my favorite. So take Zombie 101, the embalming tonic, and the brains to make us something called poisonous solution, which I imagine it to be something of like a scientific beaker, but it's kind of erupted with a skull cloud coming out of it. I'm not 100% sure.
Oh.
I'm trying to think because I don't want it to be something we already have before. I know technically we kind of had a beaker type of thing, but I'm not sure if we had something.
We have a lot of beaker shit.
That's what I'm trying to think. So I'm trying to think of how can we make a poisonous solution type of thing that make it uniquely stand out from this.
I would probably go with toxic formula or something.
Yeah, the talk. Yeah,
Have it like have it like bubble look like it's bubbling, and then like the smoke from the air bubbles makes like a skull and crossbones.
that's what that's what I was thinking. So something
Yeah.
like that. So we can do that for the poisonous solution type of thing. So
Or if that doesn't work, just label like a poison label on the beaker itself, but still
yeah,
have like the bubbling elements.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, something like that kind of thing. So definitely, or like overflowing. So it'd be interesting, kind of to see that kind of thing there. So
Oh,
the
hold on, we're not making monster blood here.
oh no 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 no, we're making the ooze. We're making the Fear Street version of it, the ooze. Um,
Ooh, the ooze.
yes, I know that's a fun book. Speaking of, anyways, so after that group, we end up coming to the scene item, which I'm calling the Phantom Beat, which is almost like a school, like the school bell type of thing, like it's ringing, but there's a heart monitor at the bottom of it, like almost like it's making a static of a ghostly phantom beat almost. Does that make sense?
Not really, no.
Okay, when you think of something called the phantom beat, what would you think? Visualization.
Okay, so two things come into mind when
Okay,
I hear Phantom Beat. The first one is like a ghost playing as a DJ, rocking a sound system.
you're going DJ Dead Mouse over here.
Yeah. And then another one is just like a more terrifying version of the root vegetable of a beet, like a dead beet.
Oh, right, yeah, the one from the Harry Potter movies. Yeah, what
Or
is it called? A snare?
or I know I brought this up or I know I brought this up numerous times, but Wizard 101 did create something called a deadbeat, which is basically a zombie beat.
Okay. Well, the it could be the Phantom Beat, but it could also be something else entirely because this item is being dropping by like the scene. I'm going to talk about the scene into question, but it is um it's kind of like how we had Bell Valley Middle School.
Yeah,
So, yeah. So, I'm just trying to think what would be interesting for this one because they're all supposed to make something together, right? So,
yeah,
basically it's the idea of it's like a living kind of like a spirit almost like the embodiment of or like a ghostly live heartbeat of sorts, right? So I'm just trying to visualize what that is. I come up with the name, but it's like trying to it's like R.L. Stein. It's like I come up with the name and I try to think of a story with it. The Phantom Bee. I wonder what that story could be about. It's a cool name though. Hmm.
I don't know. I do like the idea of mixing a heart monitor with like a school bell.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I think that could work for what it is. Like just the visualization to make it easy to kind of be like you can visually see that, like the bottom part being a heartbeat type of thing and then the bell on top. That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking anyways. So I figured that would be interesting. So anyways, so now we
I
get to the
I almost
final.
feel like yeah, I feel like the last thing that you could make, like I want to hear your idea, but
Okay, well, I'm curious what you think it's gonna be.
I feel like it's gonna turn into like some sort of Frankensteinish creature where the school bell is like how it keeps itself alive. The body is, the body, and with the brains and the organs and the body bag and shit.
You're kind of close. You're kind of close. I'll tell you what it is. So you take the project, the poisonous solution, and the phantom beat to make something called the failed homunculus. So
Oh,
what this is supposed to look like is imagine a Frankenstein monster, but they did them wrong. Like the head is where the arm should be. You got like the Dr. McGregor with a leg for an arm and an arm for a leg. Basically, it's like the zombie kid was instructed to make a zombie and they fucked it up. And as a result of this, you got this failed homunculus, and there's a big F on the body. Just to say you failed this project. You failed. You failed. Or you could just make a blob monster or something like you know what I mean. I just figured it'd be funny to kind of see this bizarre or homunculus monster. It's just like, oh, you failed
I
it.
don't know if I would call it a homunculus per se because I feel like that would be just a little bit too long.
I guess like a failed experiment. I don't know. That's even longer. Failed exam. Is that
Uh,
better?
I'll think of something.
Okay. All right. I'll leave it to you then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that would be a funny idea to look at type of stuff, right? So, anyways, I guess let's talk about the items that are going to be like the raw items collectors, as it were, right? So the suppliers that you're going to get this from is called Open Grave. And I've seen we have different graves already, right? Like some plotted and all that stuff. We don't have an open grave though.
Right.
So I figured it would be interesting to kind of have like, it would make sense to have a bunch of open graves anyway, so it's not going to be looking too out of place once the event ends. So I figured open grave would be great. And yeah, the great way to get brains, right? Open grave, of course. Don't ask questions of why there's so many of them. It's just there, okay? Just don't think about it. Great movie by R.L.
Don't
Stein.
think about it, brah. Don't think about it.
Yeah,
Don't think
anyway.
about it, brah.
Anyways, so the promenade supplier is going to be the reviver, which is a very
Ooh.
important area or an item that is used in the story. If you know the story, you know what the reviver is. I
Okay.
just imagine the reviver being this big machine, kind of like a Frankenstein, like live machine kind of thing. I don't know. I'm sure I
I
can
don't know.
visualize something.
I'm getting like the what's that device called?
It's almost like the Crash Bandicoot machine that
Yeah,
little
that's what
Nortex made.
that's exactly what I
That's
was
what I was
thinking
thinking
of.
of. That's what I was thinking of
Yeah, that's
too. But that machine, that monstrosity. That's what I'm thinking. And it's just like a board that zaps you. This convoluted
yeah,
machine that helps us. It's like a big heart, whatever. Anyways, so there's that. So
yeah. That's exactly the thing I was thinking of when you brought up the reviver.
yeah, so that's my visualization of what I thought it was going to be as well. So I was sure to put that up on the screen. So, anyways, the scene in question is going to be Romero Academy, which is the place in school, and I know this is the second school of building spawn scene, but screw you, right?
We need
Anyway.
another one.
We need more, damn it. We need more schools. We can't have
So
enough
wait, what's
more.
this one
We can't
called?
have enough schools. We need more of them. Anyways, so
Wait, what's it called again?
Romero's Academy.
Okay, that's what I thought you said.
Yeah, and yeah, as
But what would it
if
be
you're
called after
wondering,
you? What
yes,
would it be?
it's exactly why it's named that, because it's exactly what it's named in the book. And yes, it is a nod to George A. Romero. That's why Stein wrote it in there, because he's like, zombie books, gotta do references. That's not the only reference, by the way.
Um,
There's many references, especially ones I'm going to add into the book, so don't worry. Um,
I
so,
do have a question.
mm, yeah.
What are you gonna call it after you obtain it? After
Well, I know they used to do these. Like they used to just say the name of the thing, and then it's like the final scene. But the final, like, to collect it as is, once you collect it, would be the I guess Romero Academy middle school. Like you just add the middle school part in there. I mean, it's hard to say because it's odd. It's a weird naming scheme. It's like I just
well,
make the ideas up and they can figure it out. It's like you do it.
well, I was thinking of what kind of school was this again? Was it just an academy, or was it like a particular grade of school, like middle
They didn't
or
really
elementary?
specify, but it's like why crypt. Like he's supposed to be in the fifth grade in this one, so. Oh no, that's another book. I don't know. They just said academy, so for all I know, it's a school made for zombies. So I'm assuming it's like the like
Okay,
going.
so I'm thinking the promenade one would just be called Romero Middle School,
Yeah, and
and
then
then when you actually earn it, it would just be Romero Academy.
yeah, okay, so we'll do that then. Romero Middle School and then the Romero Academy. Yeah, sure, that
Yeah,
that works. Especially since in the
and it would look like one of those like high end prestige schools.
but it looks broken down and rotten, almost like it's been abandoned. But it hasn't. But it's
Yeah,
not.
and there's like zombies everywhere.
Yeah, zombie kids just jumping off of buildings because that's just a fun game they play, and other weird stuff. I don't know. I'm sure you can think it's just fun stuff. I'm sure if I type in zombie school, I'll get a lot of pictures. So we'll just say, yeah, that's what it looks like. Anyways,
Yeah, and a lot of those might be AI generated.
so yeah. Oh God, yeah. That's a controversy in its own right. It's great for coming up with ideas, but just to say I made this, it's like no, we didn't. Yeah.
I know
Anyways,
that just fucking annoys me.
yeah, I know. Anyways, so the characters you spawn there is a zombie boy and girl. So it's
Hmm.
different ones, kind of like how the other school had a like a gray boy and girl in the sense. So it's the same thing here. I figured it would look kind of like a jock and a cheerleader almost, I would assume. Like
Oh
almost
yeah,
like
makes sense. Makes sense.
the jock character looking like he does in the cover art in a sense, right? I imagine that. Whereas the girl looks more like a cheerleader, almost like a zombie cheerleader in a sense. I'm thinking
I
anyways,
feel
like
like that we should have like I feel like we should probably have like maybe let's see, two pairs of those.
yeah.
And then like as soon as you get
And you can easily
the
just change the
actual
color of it. Like one can have a
and
red
then when you
shirt and the other one
actually
has a
get
blue shirt.
and then when you actually get the spawn scene, and you have the character, the last one would actually just be like the failed experiment or the failed project.
Oh boy. I
I
can
feel like
only
that would be really
imagine.
cool.
The thing is, like, I'm wondering how that would work. How that would look like if they just reanimate that. You know what it would be? You know what? Imagine if they did that, they could easily just take that image of the character, shrink it down, and be like, "This is the crafting scene you get." And it's like, man, this crafting item looks so weird, and it's like, oh, no wonder. But
Oh, I remember. I remember the what the device was called.
hmm,
It was called the Evolvo Ray.
yes, the Evolve Array, that's what it was. That's the item in question.
Huh.
So, anyways, when you
Yeah.
do get the Romero Academy, it comes with Zombie Fran or Franny. I'm sorry, I'm gonna call her Fran. This is the short form for Franny, but you know, every time I think of Fran, I think of the dinosaurs show. Fran? Dun, 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 dun. Mama, mama. Speaking of that, what's funny about that is I remember watching Joel from Vine Sauce or Vine Skeletor or Vol Skeletor, whatever his username is. He was watching the end scene for that show, which was the whole the
Ice
the
Age.
Ice Age thing happening. And what was happening when he was doing that, he decided to play a laugh track behind it. And what was hilarious about it is that it was just matching up, right? It's just like as soon as they look like he's looking sad, he looks to Fran, all of a sudden you hear a laugh track go off, and then he's just laughing. He's like, "Why does this fit so well? It's so horrible." And then at the end, he starts playing the Seinfeld music. It's like, "Hey Kramer, we're fucking dead." Yeah, but anyways, Dinosaurs is a great show. I love that. I have that all DVDs. Perfect. I love it. Anyways, sorry, we're getting off
I do
topic.
like that show.
But yeah, sorry if I call her Fran. That's why it's her name's Franny, but Fran is better, short form. But anyways, you get Zombie Fran, but also with the scene comes with Mr. Craven, and Craven is the principal of the school. And I figured what's interesting about Craven is that I imagine him, and I know I know this is gonna sound very dumb of me to say, but it's like, well, we have a character from Halloween Horror Nights. Let's bring another one in here. Why does he look like the caretaker? You mean he looks like he's a dead guy? I can imagine him being a guy wearing a top hat and being like, uh, I don't know. That's what I visualize, but what do you think with Mr. Craven?
I mean, I kind of feel like I don't know.
I can
I'm
imagine he
really
has a
tempted
shovel
to
on
want to
him.
add like a what's that?
I imagine he has a shovel with him when he's scaring people and he just smacks over the head. Oh, a zombie! Boom. I think he's dead. We need to bury this. He's like a gravekeeper. That's what I imagine, but anyways.
I feel like he would. I don't know why, but I Krueger.
Like Freddy Krueger. Oh my god. Really? You don't make him look like Freddy Krueger?
Well, not Craven specifically, but I really want to throw in a Freddy Krueger reference. Like I know that we have like the groundskeeper Freddy
Oh,
or
like
Krueger or whatever his name is.
Willie, like the Freddy Krueger Nightmare on
No,
Everything's Terran.
wasn't there like a groundskeeper?
There,
Yeah, but wasn't
yes,
there a
there
character
is
in the Goosebumps HorrorTown
Freddy
universe?
Krueger is in the game as a janitor for the school. That is the case,
Yeah,
yes.
I want to do that. Just have like a brief mention of him.
Yeah, I can probably throw that in there. All right. So I guess we should do the story now. I think that talks
You
about
didn't
it.
go over the decorations, but I don't think you thought that
I
much
haven't
ahead.
thought that through. It's just gonna come whenever. I guess okay,
All right.
let's talk about the animations then I'll talk about the story. How about that?
Yeah, fair
So
enough.
normal tasks, so this is basically people getting brains and going into buildings, is watch Night of the Living Dead. And yes, we can say that because technically speaking, that is in public domain. So you look it up, it's true. So apparently George A. Romero, when he was registering it, he fucked up the copyright, and because of that, it ended up falling into public domain, which in hindsight was
Oh
better
well.
for him. But you know, it kind of sucks for him. But yeah, so we can use that name, so don't worry about that. So I will talk about our main girl later. Um, Marty gets two animations in particular. So first one is Get in Disguise, and he's going to use a decoration called Ghoul's Bathroom. And this is a double animation that will be with Fran. And I can visualize that this is basically him. Fran's basically kind of like, it's like, imagine the Ghoul bathroom being like like a girl's bathroom, but it's like ripped out of the wall and it's kind of like just outside kind of thing, like stall bathrooms and whatnot. Like almost like it's kind of like what happened with the back alleyway zone that they got going on there, but it's like a bathroom. But
Okay.
I just imagine that they're basically kind of like she's just helping him get decorated and make him look like a zombie almost, right? I just imagine that's what she's kind of doing there. Makes sense in the visual
Fair
in the
enough.
story. The other one he does is something called that one. I think I'm gonna have that drop. I'm trying to look at my things again. I'm gonna have him drop the donated organs. No, the embalming tonic. I think that's what I'm gonna do for him. Drop
Okay.
him as that. And then the other one he's gonna do is called Playing Dead, and that's him just walking around in his zombie costume, kind of like acting, he's like acting like a zombie, right? And that's gonna drop
Yeah.
the zombie 101 type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So Lucy has an animation, uh, which uses
Well,
something called. Sorry.
I was going to say before you mention Lucy, um, I was actually thinking. I know I have a bit of Plants versus Zombies in my head right now, but I was actually thinking that the standard animation would just be like zombies on the lawn. It would just be like, one of the cheerleader or jog zombies just like um, either like trying to scratch at the door of like a character's dancing the Thriller dance.
I'm getting to that.
Oh, okay.
Lucy has an animation called Zombie Dance, and she uses something
Uh,
called the Grimm stage. And the Grimm stage is, imagine a podium, like a graduation podium, but it's like almost, like a broken type of thing, is like dead class or whatever. You know what I mean? Like those podiums that you see on stage. And she's gonna
Now, this
dance.
is very important. Is it
Yes.
spelled with two M's or one M?
The mm, I did it with one. I can do two. How about that? We'll do two of them.
Well, it was supposed to be a joke because I was talking
I
about like fairy
know, I
tales earlier.
know, I know. As soon as you said it, I'm like, oh, fuck. Yes, it's a stage for me. It's with my legacy. With you see Jacko in the background. That's for me. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So she does the Thriller dance, the zombie Thriller dance. That's like the one zombie that we got going on there. What I imagine that it'd be funny to kind of see her kind of doing that type of thing, because of course we need to have a Thriller reference in there, right?
Yeah,
Um, for Dust, she drops. I think she drops Abe Norman's head. Is what I'm going with.
yeah.
Dustin we had the similar one, but I decided to change it right now. So the item in question, I'm thinking, I don't know the name of it, but it's going to be like a table full of a cafeteria food, almost like rotten. I wouldn't say rotten, but almost like almost like cafeteria
Inedible.
inedible, yeah, inedible foods or inedible. What is it? It's there's a kiosk, inedible kiosk. How about that? And it's basically called Food Fight, where he's basically in that area and he's throwing. It's kind of like the reuse animation of him throwing snowballs, except instead of snowballs, it's tomatoes or apples or something of that nature, where he's
Or
throwing
even
rotten.
or maybe even like really disgusting sloppy mystery meat, quote unquote.
Yeah, sloppy mystery meat. That's great, especially the ones that moves around, right? He dropped the donated organ, or hell, he can just throw organs. How about that? Because he drops donated organs, so he's throwing organs. I mean, that's what zombie eat kids, right? He throws brains. It reminds me, you
Yeah.
know what I'm thinking? Because I'm thinking of like throwing brains now. I'm thinking of that one episode of Rocketing Hunger Force of the Brain Fairy. You know, he gets his license, you don't. I'll give you my brain.
I can
Oh, good, here you go.
I can imagine it would be like one of those t-shirt cannon things where like if Dustin,
Yeah,
instead of like trying to avoid it, they would just like jump to try and catch it, like ah.
yeah, exactly. I can imagine that. So I did have another one for Mrs. Marr to have something, but I don't know what she drops per se because I think we've basically covered all the normal stuff, right? So um, I
Not
guess
exactly, but yeah,
we
go
can
ahead.
do Norman's brain. We can do Abnorman's brain again, but it's called teaching practice, and she's interacting with something called the dummy mummy. Imagine, you know those skeletons that you see in the classrooms that'd be like, this is your this is what your bones look like. Imagine that, but with a mummy. So the dummy mummy, and it's a bit of a nod
Uh,
to like the dummy versus the mummy type of thing, or mummy versus I don't know
I
what the
could,
fuck. I just imagine
now I'm
that.
just reminded that now I'm just reminded of I think it was Download and Die where Curly was seen as like one of
Yes,
those
yes, I remember
skeletons.
that. He's like, please don't
And
do
now I'm
that.
just reminded of like a really funny scene that was like straight from Family Guy where like
Yeah, I donated the
he's
organs to but yeah, I know which one you're talking about. It's like I donated my thing to science. It's like, okay, touch the bone, see? I'm just joking with you. All right, come back.
yeah, get out of here, you little bastard.
Come here, you little bastard. Yeah, yeah. So I can imagine she's doing something like that with pointing to the mummy or something like that. I don't know, like something funny, silly like that. And then the
Why
other
does it
one,
have to be a mummy per se?
I mean, I just say it because of dummy mummy sounds funnier.
Eh, I guess,
It's a
but
dummy of a mummy. I don't know. Just it rhymes. It's
oh,
cohesive.
excuse
It
pardon me.
rhymes. Anyways, so the premium ones. So the one bundle. Again, I didn't think this through. I just think of the animation. So you can.
Wait, is that all the characters or?
I'm going to the special ones. The two special ones
Oh,
that we get the special stuff. So one of them is Andrew Craw, and he has something called Acting Cool, and it uses something called a Ghoul Garage. And this is going to be him acting like Fonzie, but him in his
yeah.
actual human disguise, Pixel, the one that you decide to go ahead and make. So yeah, so now he has another asset. So he's basically kind of like standing in front of like a garage door, kind of slicking his hair back, kind of like a greaser, and being like, "Hey."
Hell yeah.
He could do kind of like what acting aloof from Will Blake does when he just kind of stands there and he's just kind of looking back at like something like that, but in a human disguise. So I figured, we need to have him in his human disguise. So I thought this would be great. He's in a Google garage. Why not? Right. And the other one, and he drops. I think he drops. Am I looking at this correctly? The project, I think, is what he drops. And then the other character is going to drop the poison solution, and that one's going to be Cuddles. And he's going to do an
Ooh.
animation called, yes, finally Cuddles gets an animation, just like how you did with Trigger. He's called,
Well, technically, I gave Cuddles an animation too because
yeah, but
oh well, I'll probably I can't spoil that yet, but
mine makes sense because it's a school update and he's part of the school, so there you go. I don't know. He hasn't had an update yet. I mean, he will in the future. Maybe. I don't know. But anyways, what I thought was something called Eating Cursed Nuts. And he's interacting with something called a dead vending machine, which is just, as the name implies, it's just like a vending machine, but it's broken and it has stuff in it like eyeballs and organs and things that zombies would love. Brains, I guess. I don't know. You can be creative with it. You can fill it up with skulls for all I care. But yeah, I can imagine him in his bowl, like outside of his bowl, eating a nut, and then he kind of grows a little bit, or like funny, ridiculous size, and then he kind of shrinks back, and he starts eating again. And it's just kind of like this weird thing where his head grows and it shrinks again. I don't know. I
Now I
just
can
like what
just
they
like
said.
imagine a scene where like Cuddles is eating the nuts, and then like one of the other animal characters walks up to Cuddles and is like, "Hey, Cuddles, are you enjoying these nuts?"
Uh,
And Cuddles just looks like completely unamused and kind of pissed off.
yes. So I'm going to talk about Fran's stuff, but I'm going to hold that off until we get to her quests because that's going to spoil a little bit of what her thing is going to be about. If that's
I
fine.
will have to ask: are those all the characters aside from Fran that get animations?
Yes.
Are you sure? Because that's kind of a very low number.
I mean, everyone's dropping at least one of these items, so I mean, Marty gets
Yeah,
two
but there are
animations,
some
but
characters that yeah, but there are some characters that drop multiple of those items.
yeah, I mean, I only thought this through. I mean, we didn't. Sometimes, okay, sometimes we just talk about things that we like to come up with, and sometimes we don't come up with everything, right? Like, may I remind you of your last update?
Which one's that?
The one we recently did, the one with the 1,000 claws. You didn't have everything up in snuff either, right?
Well, that's based on dialogue and shit. Yeah, and I
Yeah, yeah,
was
I'm saying
honestly
not
kind of busy,
everything
so I
gets
couldn't really
completed,
finish
right?
it.
Not everything gets completed. So that's all I'm saying, right? Sometimes not everything gets completed. I'm just kind of like those types that does that. We kind of confront with this already, but I digress. Yeah, I said the line. Yeah,
Hey.
I said the line. You said the thing.
Yeah, he said the thing. He said the thing.
He's gonna. Oh, that's why he. That's why it's called that. Yeah. Anyway. Anyways, yeah, so we got that going on for ourselves. So that's it for now. I mean, Fran's getting a lot of animations here, so I'm not gonna spoil it right now. I could tell you what her in-house animation is gonna be, or her in-house, going in the building and the timer pops in. I could tell you what that quest is.
Okay.
Watch House of a Thousand Corpses.
Mm,
That sounds like a cringy kind of like that hurts.
no, it's not that. It's like I have no problem with House of a Thousand Corpses. I think it's a pretty good, solid movie. But
And song, apparently.
what's that?
And a song, apparently.
But the thing is that I think like I know that Pixel has been really cheeky with slipping in like adult rated things into their stuff, but I think House of a Thousand Corpses might be a little bit too much. I want to say.
All right, then let's change it to Get Recharged.
Okay,
There, you happy now?
I just don't want Pixel to get
Look,
in trouble
look, if
in the event
everyone
that they
asks,
decide
it's
to
like
adapt
it's
it.
basically it's a zombie film with a bunch of zombies, and it's a funny movie of an apartment building with a bunch of zombies, and they're trying to live, and it's like, oh, it's too crowded in here. Hence the House of a Thousand Corpses. It's not the other one. It's not
Well,
the
I'm
other
thinking
one
about
from
the
that other
horror
film.
movie.
Yeah, no, that's the thing that they can always just say that, right? I mean, this is same lore where apparently the monster from the creature from the Black Lagoon drowns at the end, which makes no fucking sense, but okay.
Yeah, how do you drown someone who has gills?
That's what I don't understand. Okay, that's another book. We already talked about that one. All right. So, anyways, yeah, she gets recharged in her house. I have not thought up what she drops as normal items though, so we can leave up that interpretation of whatever items we like. Basically, if there's an item you think, oh, I want something like that, you can have her have that. So there you go. Okay. Think about
Yeah.
that. We're kind of getting out top. We need to get to the store. We need to get going because we're already talking too much. All right. So
Okay. Well,
what?
go on.
Okay.
Go on,
Okay. God. All right. So we're gonna start with the
Mr.
story now.
Time Crunch Buddy.
Shut up. It's just because I got stuff to do too, man. Anyways, so
This guy's like a white rabbit up in here. I'm late. I'm late for a very important date.
yes, it is. Yes, indeed. Anyways, the story starts off with Curly and Drool planning out the story, so I can see Curly doing his own, type of like, yeah, Waluigi, like, it's back to school again. He's trying to think of, again, these are just, I haven't thought of top. It's just like you with before. It's kind of like I thought of the idea of the story, but kind of like dialogue, I'm just making up on the spot. So I imagine
Yeah.
this is kind of like Curly, kind of just like, I wonder when I'm trying to think of what story I can tell the player. And this is when Drool comes in, that we haven't seen for God knows how long, and it's just like, can I tell a story, man? Can I pick a story matcher? It's just like, well, it's been a long time. Sure, buddy, like you pick this time. And he's just like looking at the books, and he's like, how about this one? And he picks, and it's like, good idea. This sounds like a classic tale, and wouldn't you know it, follows a certain type of bully character and his lore, and the lore behind his way of life, almost in a sense, right? Because basically, we're gonna learn a little bit about Marty and why he is what he is. Maybe
Ooh, a Marty origin story.
a Marty lore story. Oh, the lore. The lore is gonna get.
The lore.
Yes. It's not just a theory, it's a game theory. Anyways, quest
It's
starts.
not just a theory; it's a Goosebumps theory.
A Goosebumps theory. Thanks for watching. So the quest starts. We come back. Marty is skipping school, right? So he's trying to run from school. He's just like, I'm not going to school today. It's like, screw that. And he bumps into Mr. Craven. And this is where it's like, he kind of gets jumped because he sees this weird, tall, dead-looking guy, right? And this is when the next quest comes in. So he starts off, and the guy's just like, you must be the new student here. And Marty's just like, no, I'm just kind of going away. It's like, nonsense. It grabs him, and he's just like, for being a guy who looks dead, he's pretty fucking strong. He just grabs him by the arm. He's like, ah. He's like, nonsense. You are definitely the
Well, zombies
student.
zombies are known to be abnormally strong.
I know, but this is my story. Shut up. He can be whatever he wants. Zombies are also slow, but sometimes their movies they're fast. So yeah, zombies can be whatever they want to be. They're just a big undead horror. That's it.
I could just
Anyway.
imagine you saying, "Oh, he can be whatever he wants," and then it's him. I want to identify as a unicorn. It's like, okay, whatever you want.
All right, fine. Marty's very weak. He's very sick today, so he's just very weak as a zombie. Oh, stop! I'm sick today. All right, so he kind of gets dragged into the school, right? So then the quest starts.
Yes.
Then he comes back, and then Marty's kind of like trying to adapt his surroundings. Like he's in this school area, he's trying to go like, okay, where the fuck am I? He's looking around, and this is when he kind of pieced together. The kids are acting funny. They look dead, more deader than usual, right? Because we all know going to school, oh yeah, you're always dead, right? But it's just like this one's like, no,
Yeah.
they really look like they're like they don't look sleepy. They look like they're dead, right? And then this is when he starts to realize that kids are doing weird stuff that humans are not supposed to do, like taking their heads off or like using their arms as baseball bats, right? And he's like, wait a minute, this is a
Or
zombie
playing the knife
school.
game without fear of getting hurt.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Especially within the books that they basically it's like, why don't you jump off the building, kid? Yeah, jump off the building. That shows you're dead, right? Because technically, you know. And so,
And if
anyways,
you weren't dead, you will be.
yeah. So, anyways, so that ends that quest, and then goes to the next one, and then this is where the kids kind of go like, hey, "You're the new kid, right? You look different." It's like, no, I'm good too. It's like, you look alive. Show us your dead kid. It's just like, and this is when Marty's like, no. It's like, he's alive. He's alive. Get him. Right. So this is when the quest starts kind of doing his thing, and then this is where he gets and so the quest ends. Gets kind of cornered, and he's just like, "All right, you better go back, zombies, or I'll beat you up," right? And the zombies are kind of like, "Oh, run away!" Runs. It's just like, I showed those bullies. And this is the comedic kind of like going back, and he bumps into somebody. He looks up, and he sees this giant fucking figure. right? This giant school bully. And that's why the kids ran away, because there's this Frankenstein-like monster there. And he's like, oh, fuck. And he's like, you're coming with me,
I
kid.
can imagine like
Grabs
I can imagine. I can imagine this new bully is just like a stereotype bully that's like too big to even attend this school.
This is like
Like in like
this is like Susie level of bully. Like this is kind of like a kid hold back from the grades kind of bully. But it's gonna make sense
yeah.
as to who this is if you can't piece it together. So she picks him up, and this is when the next quest comes in, right? So he's just like, please don't hurt me. It's like, guy, please don't eat me. And he's just like, Marty, relax. I'm not here to hurt you. And he's just like, how the fuck do you know my name? And this is when then he like, she pulls her hair back and she kind of like shows who she is. And she's like, wait a minute, Fran? Franny, is that you? But you're dead. It's like, and you're gonna be dead too if we don't help you out. So let's get to talk. And you're like, what the fuck? Wait, and it's like, wait, he knows who she is? Yeah. So this is where the whole lore story comes into play. So Marty didn't used to be a dick, believe it or not. I imagine that. He was a poor kid, yeah. So like any kid, he tends to act out, right? Like most bullies. Like he gets picked on, so he becomes the bully, so he can pick on other people. You know, to make the cycle continues, as it were.
Yeah.
But when he was younger, he met a kid by the name of Franny Roth, and you know they ended up becoming friends because they both were kind of like, you know, picked on as someone like that. So they kind of became a rejected group in a sense, like a little nerd friend group of the sorts, right? And when they were younger, and he ended up moving away at some point, and he ended up not realizing about that. And I wouldn't say move away. What ended up happening was she ended up getting real sick, and he ended up finding out she passed away at some point. And because of this, the only friend he had ended up passing. So he ended up becoming more. He doesn't want to lose somebody again like that. Hence why he acts like a dick to people, especially his so-called friends, because
Oh, I see.
he doesn't want to have that feeling again. So that's why he acts the way he does, right? He acts like a bull.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm giving him
He
some
doesn't want to
PYA.
get too close with people, so that way he
Yes, so
doesn't
he
feel
doesn't
heartbreak
feel
when they
that
die.
pain again, right? So that's type of thing. So that when he sees her finally, he's surprised to see Fran as she is, like she's alive, but she's not the way she is because she used to be frailer back then. Now she's this hunking Frankenstein-like monster because it turns out her fucking father or mother or both or whoever decided to reanimate her back as a zombie monster, this Frankenstein like monster kind of character. And I can imagine that she's like almost like imagine like an adult in a kid in an adult body type of thing. Like that weird almost like that's a weird episode of the Rugrats when they pretend they're adults. Almost kind of like that, but not like babies. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of
Yeah.
like that, right? Because he basically the guy, whoever reanimated her, was just like, well, we need to make her alive, so we take random body parts of something, and they're like, yeah, this works, female. I don't know. Just use your imagination. Anyway, so yeah, because Fran realized who he was, and he realized like he's in a bad place. She's trying to help him out because again, friend, right? Yeah, the
Yeah.
Frankenstein friend, friend. Right.
Friend.
Yeah, just like the weird Frankenstein movie with the little girl with the little flowers. Like, speaking of Frankenstein, that's gonna come back in a bit. Anyways, so the quest
Fun.
starts. That happens, and then we get back. So Fran basically helps Marty in disguise to fool the other kids. So that's why she decides to make him look like a dead kid, right? Like make him look like a zombie by using her makeup because you know she's a girl, she does that, so she just makes her look like a dead guy, like dead kid, right? So we
Mhm.
got that set up. Next quest starts, and while this is happening, she also gives him a fake arm, right? So that way he can pull this off. So the kids come back, and she's like, it's like there's the kid again. Get her. It's just like, hey, wait, guys. It's like, hold on, guys, hold on. And then you know he drops his fake hand, his fake arm. He's like, oh no, my arm fell off again. And the kid's like, Oh, you are actually that kid. Damn, I thought you were really alive. Man, you really got
Well,
us
don't we
good.
have egg on our face
You,
and brains?
you really confused us, kid. We were gonna eat you alive, but yeah, yeah, you got us, new kid, right? So yeah, so they got that right. It's just like then the quest begins and then it ends, and then Marty's just like, I did it, I fooled them. And then all of a sudden he gets bumped into Craven again, and this is like, oh dear, did you lose an arm? And he's like, no, I'm okay. He's just like, no, no, we need to revive you back. He's like, revive? What do you mean revive? And this is when he ends up realizing that he's going to be taken to the revival room. If you don't know what that is a room for in case kids got a little too horse roughing. They end up dying or re-dying again. So they end up getting, just a little shock back to life. So yeah, he basically is going to get zapped to death in a sense, right? So the next quest starts. He goes back to Fran running. It's just like, Fran, your thing worked, but now I'm gonna get shocked to death because he said the principal's taking me to the revive room, and she's like, no, not the revive room. He's like, oh, okay, I'll try to help you with something. Like I'll figure something out, right? Just don't let him catch you. So then quest starts. Quest ends. And this is when he's trying to run, but he gets caught by Craven, and this is when he's being taken. He's dragging away Ned Flanders style to the revival room. Do you want to be taken? You want to be taken to your room or kicking and screaming? Ooh, kicking and screaming, please. Okay. No. Yeah, so he's just taken to the room, right? So there's that. So
Yeah.
then the next quest starts, and Marty's tell him the truth. He's like, look, I'm not dead. I'm alive. See, look, my hand's okay. And he's not believing him. He's still thinking because he's ignorant. He's like, all right. He's like, nah, you're too delirious, kid. I'm gonna help shock you back to life, right? So he's strapping him up, getting himself ready. Quest starts, right? And Fran's trying to figure out how to the deal with it. She thinks, oh, maybe unplugging the thing might help, right? But anyways, quest starts, quest ends.
Joke's on you, it runs on batteries.
It's like, oh damn, the plug's plugged out. Good thing this runs on battery. Someone forgot to charge it. Damn. Darn. It's like it's a little zapped. It's like, oh, I feel better. It's like, yep. That's what I needed. A little shock, and I'm good to go. No, something else happened. So Craven finds out that Marty wasn't lying, and he gets upset by it. So what happened was when he first sees him, he's like, you're the new kid, right? You look exactly what you're described, red shirt, all that. Like you're the new kid, right? Right? Turns out, no, he wasn't a new kid. In fact, the new kid was just standing outside, trying to waiting, and they're like, sir, there's a kid outside trying to wait for you. He's like, what do you mean, new kid? It's just like, wait a minute. If he's the new kid, who the hell are you? And it's like, I tried to tell you I'm alive, sir. It's like, no, you're not. It's like, and he's trying to piece this together because he's realizing this, like, oh, this is bad. I almost killed a live kid. And he hates this idea because he doesn't want the school board to get on his ass. Because he has a
I mean,
standard to
nobody
go.
wants that.
No, he doesn't want. God, what's his name? Superintendent.
Chalmers.
Not Chalmers. The clown.
Scanner!
Who's murdered the clown? The
Huh?
Theodore. He doesn't want Counselor Theodore to get on his ass. So he's just like, he's
He's
like,
got to have a Superintendent Chalmers vibe.
yeah.
Scanner!
Craven? Why is there a
Craven?
live student in your dead facility? I was just out showing. He's acting like Principal Skinner, and I was so he gets upset by this, and he's like tells Fran, he's like, get this child out of my facility. right? So he's happy about that. He's just like, thank God I'm out, right? And this is where it comes a bittersweet moment because this is where Fran has to say goodbye to Marty. It's just like, but we just met. It's just like, yeah, but I'm dead and you're not, and you have a life to live. And even if we were meet, you're gonna die at someday, and I'm not. So you might as well just forget I was
Unless
here.
I revive you, but that's a story for another time. Wink.
Maybe next time, Eh, like whatever, right? So he ends goes back. Quest ends. Quest starts. Quest ends. That's where we get the ending, where Marty's finally just like, "Oh, thank God that's whole over." But I think I'm forgetting something, and then all of a sudden you see Mrs. Marty Ricardo. What is you've been out of school? It's like, oh, fuck. It's like, ah, damn it. This is where Curly comes in. It's just like, oh, looks like Marty's learning the hard way of detention, but he's better off not being dead, right? And this is when Drool comes in. It's just like maybe like he kind of makes a like and maybe he'll meet his ghoul friend, and he's just like, hey, only I make stuff funnies here, and there's no bones about it, right, player?
And I can just imagine Slap. Shut up, Hans!
Would you stop? Swear to God, Curly, stop. Yeah. But anyways, that's the end of the quest and sorts. So it's a little bit all over the place, but you get the gist of it. Thoughts?
Yeah.
Thoughts on it?
Uh, Pretty entertaining.
Yes, I'm glad. My stories are always seem to be entertaining, but yeah, I only imagine that would be somewhat the plot of how it would go, but I thought it would be fun. But
What's
anyways,
the side quest?
that's what we're getting to. So I'm
Oh,
going to
okay.
say this right now. I'm very proud of what I named this quest line, and I'm going to say this: if she gets added to the game, or any zombie females get added to the game, and they did not name their quest line after this, I'll be very upset because
I
this
think I
is
know where this is
this is
going.
something that should have been done. But before I go ahead and tell you the name of it, I have a question I need to ask you. Who is this
Go ahead.
irresistible creature who has an insatiable love for the dead?
Living Dead Girl.
Yeah, so this quest line's called Living Dead Girl. And come on, I had to put a Rob Zombie thing in there. And before you ask if there's another
Of
Rob
course.
Zombie thing, you bet your ass there is. There's more. This is Rob
Oh boy,
Zombie
the fun
time,
just doesn't
baby.
end.
You better not get sick of the Rob. Anyways, so we're gonna get into the introduction. So this is where Curly introduces her to go, meh. So that whole lore dump I told you about with Fran being like friends of Marty's and dying and all that type of stuff. This is where we get the lore dump of it during this part of the quest line. So this is where Curly's been like, Fran is a whatever. He's a dead girl.
Whatever.
She has an insatiable love for the dead. I digress. But yeah, anyways, he does the introduction, kind of the lore dumping to kind of be like, to basically tell that she was dead, she's now alive, but she's as a Frankenstein like monster, and she's trying to adapt to this type of stuff. But basically, kind of alludes to the fact that despite her being a kid, people are mistaking her as an adult, as you'll see
Oh yeah.
in the quest line. So, anyways, we get introduced to this, and we have our first quest line, and this is where we have our first animation. And this animation is called Listen to Robbie the Zombie. Yes, you might think, why not listen to Rob Zombie? And just like, well, Rob Zombie might be trademarked for all I care. I mean, maybe I don't want to be, so Robbie the Zombie it is. And you might be thinking, well, why not Bob Zombie? And I'm just like, a lot of people do Bob Zombie. It's overplayed. No one does Robbie the Zombie, and it sounds funnier. So yeah,
Fair
I
enough.
can only imagine that she's kind of like doing headphones, kind of listening to like a thing, and kind of like beating her head to the music, kind of. I don't know, like something like that, right? I can imagine like her kind of like being distracted, beating it out, kind of listening to the music, right? Type of stuff.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that quest line ends, and we start the quest. We end that thing, and we start the end Questline dialogue, which is basically her listening to music, kind of beating a music beat, and then she bumps into somebody, and it turns out she bumped into Andy. It's like, hey, what were you going, right? So yeah, Andy gets a part of the show because you'll see why, right? So
Okay.
anyway, she's like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to bump into you." And it turns out, despite her size and everything like that, she's very timid. So she's like a very like she doesn't want to get in confrontation because although Marty grew up to be very a hard shell kind of person, you know what I mean. You you know what I mean.
Yeah.
She didn't. She still acted the way she did when she first met him. So she's awkward in the sense, right? So I wouldn't say like Thalia level of like shy, awkward, but more like timid. I mm, I don't know.
That's pretty synonymous.
To think about it now, yeah, you're right. Yeah, there's different words though. They mean two different things. One's more timid than the other. I don't know. Why not? There could be more than one timid person in the school. Fuck it. They could be nerds or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, they bumped anyways, next quest starts off and Andy recognizes, like, she's hearing the music and she's like, hey, wait a minute, I know that's Robbie the Zombie. You're a fan? And she's like, yeah, I like his music and stuff. And this is where she thinks that she met a kindred spirit because I've never met you, new girl. What's your name? It's like Franny. It's just like, yeah, all right, Fran, we're gonna hang out. Right.
This is starting to become more of an Andy story than it is a Marty, but okay, go ahead.
Well, why not? Why not? You like Andy. Why not have
Well,
Andy
of
play?
course I do.
Yeah, so why are you objecting to this? Anyways,
Because I
so
thought it was going to focus about her, Franny's relationship with Marty, not Andy.
well, she already did. She can't meet with him anymore because, she's dead and she helped him and whatever, and they moved on. And not only that, but
I thought this was
he's a
the
different
origin
person now.
story.
He what? I don't know. I'm just thinking stuff up, man. Just let me have my fun.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, so the second animation kind of pops in, and basically it's called Stitch Up, where it's, as name implies, it's kind of like her hand falls off, and she kind of tries to stitch it back up with like a needle and thread. So it's kind of like oh, how embarrassing! My hand fell down. Oh no, I fell off. Oh, how embarrassing!
Oops, there goes that silly arm again.
Oh, how embarrassing! It's just like thanks. Oops. Right, and she's like embarrassed by it, of course, right? So this is where that happens, and then she's like, embarrassed by that in front of Andy. But Andy's like, "Man, that's cool, man. I'm like, you're an undead type. I get it, right? That's fine, whatever. Let's still hang out, right? Why not?
Hey, it happens all the
Yeah, I mean, everyone has their arm fall off. It's natural, right?
time.
Anyways, so this is where this next thing comes out, where the next quest line comes in, and it's like Andy's kind of like trying to hang out, trying to learn about Fran a bit, and she's kind of like still a zombie and still kind of like out of charge. Like she's kind of like she needs to recharge. She says like I've been out all day and so like kind of getting sleepy in a sense, right? So she sees this and she's like, I got you. Like hold on, you look like you need a drink. Have this, and it's like a power drink. It's like what can go wrong, right? So ends up drinking this, and this is when the next quest line comes in. And this is when I'm going to say something else. So I didn't think too much when it comes to the items you get in the gold monster pass thing, except for one. Is there's an item called the vampiric dragster, and she interacts with
Oh
this
yeah.
thing, and it's called Drive in Style. And yes, this is a Dracula
Okay.
reference.
Well, of course.
I just imagine it's like basically just like from the music videos, like yeah, dude, like background driving and all that type of stuff. With I can imagine that in the background it's like a green screen and it actually looks like she's. It's almost like those old school like when like people were driving a car and they would do a green screen and make it look like they're driving. It's that kind of thing going on there.
Yeah,
But she's acting like a
you
maniac,
usually see
almost kind
that
of
in
like
sitcoms and shit.
yeah, it's almost like an Eth Roth kind of like drawing type of thing. Like she's like acting like a maniac in a sense of that nature, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, that quest line ends, and you actually end up seeing like her being hyperactive, like almost just like her zombie look. By the way, that her hyperactive look, like kind of like a deranged killer in the sense. It's just like this is great. Like, I feel I've never been better before, right? She's acting crazy at this point, right? And then Andy is concerned by this, like, Fran, you need to calm down, man. It's just like it's not like how much did you drink of that? It's like I went to 1, 2, 5, maybe. It's like 5. Wait, hold on. You
1,
need
2,
to.
3, 4, 10, 7,
I
11,
say, I don't know. I
24.
stopped counting after the sixth one, and it's just
It's
it's
kind of
just
like how Peter
like you
Griffin
need to
is
calm,
like hyped up
like
on Red Bull.
like you kind of like you come on, you gotta have on fire. It's just like, oh, he wants you to on fire. Like, hold on, watch this, all right? And this is when her next animation comes up, which is Fire Bad, which is her
Wait, what?
basically on
Sorry, what is it called? I didn't catch that.
Fire Bad.
Ah,
It's her hair on fire, and she's running around like a maniac. And this is probably her relationship with her scare animation in a sense. So it's basically her basically go running around like a maniac while on fire. And this is another Frankenstein reference because the whole fire. He's like
yeah.
fire bad. It's like no fire good. See, mm.
Like I can imagine Fran's like hyperactive mode just being similar to like Peter Griffin, who was hyped up on.
Yeah, it's like ah. Someone it's like that's great. My eyes itching me. Does anyone else?
No, that's a whole different. No. That's a whole different matter. That was
Oh, that's her. That's him on meth. Let's try meth. I don't think that's a great idea.
no. Like the one with the Red Bull thing is like when Peter was like
I
super hyperactive.
thought that was.
And he
I
was
thought
like
that
trying to
was
milk the
three.
cow so fast that he set the cow's udders on fire. And then like I guess earlier he gave Chris some Red Bull and like Chris just runs around screaming with his groin on fire. Like, wow, that's some powerful stuff.
Yeah. I guess that's what she does here. She basically acts like a maniac in a sense, right? So that quest line ends,
Yeah.
and this is where Nightshade comes in because she ends up because apparently she sees this. She's like, "Who's that new girl?" And this is where Andy, not noticing or realizing what she saw, who she's talking to, she's just like, "Oh, that's Fran Roth. She's kind of like she's on a mood right now." He's like, "I like that. Yeah, I'll give her a call sometime or something like that, right?" And then this one's like, "Wait a minute, you're Nightshade, the cool dead girl who's scary. Wow, you're really cool now."
It's like,
I
wow,
thought
you
you were
like
cool
Fran?
before,
Wow,
but
you must be
wow,
super cool.
you're super ultra mega cool. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So then either Fran, like basically it's just like they were talking. And it was like, oh, she jumped in. Like, where? Do you know where she went? It's just like, oh yeah, she jumped in the lake, right? So she ends up coming after her. She's like, Fran, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, what happened? Because she basically blacked out in that moment, and she's only now realizing it's like, oh God, did I do something stupid? I'm sorry. And she started kind of crying about it. She's like, no, it's fine. If anything, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen. We should totally hang out more, right? And then the quest starts and the quest ends, and this is where Curly does his end clip type of thing there. It's like, yeah, I mean, I can only imagine him doing a funny pun at that point. Yeah, I don't know what it ended off on that. Like, I'm sure it's something funny to think of it. Some or oh, they're smart. They can do funny stuff with Curly. I trust in them. But yeah, that's the gist of this concept, anyways.
Well, I like it. I think it's funny.
Thank you. I'm kind of interested to see how you turn Fran into how she looks.
I
But
still need a basic idea of how to make Fran. Like, I get Frankenstein's monster-esque zombie thing.
I kind of think like Susie in a sense from Deltarune. Like if a human version of that, like almost like a, almost. Hold on. There's there's a character from Hey Arnold. I'm not. You're familiar with the cartoon, right?
Yeah.
There was a bully character who was a giant, like
You're not talking about Helga, are you?
not Helga, not Helga. There's another girl who is a giant, and she's a bully terror character. But she ends up being God. Hold on. If I type in bully girl, let's see if I can figure out her name while you think. Well, okay, you go ahead and you start entertaining the audience a bit.
What's the deal?
Big Patty.
What's the...
Patrina Smith, that's her name. Patrina Big Patty Smith. That's the character.
I guess I couldn't come up with a joke fast enough. Okay.
Yeah, my Google was faster. I can imagine that's what
What's
she kind
the
of looks like.
deal
She's
with
kind of like
Google?
yeah, but not with the unibrow type of stuff. But that kind of character that looks like, that vague idea. I guess I'm sure adapt.
Well, you're gonna have to send
We're
me a
talking about
picture
this
or
as if
something.
we don't know, but at this point when the video comes out, it's like, yeah, we already showed what she looks like. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but this is like,
In the past, not in the
recorded.
future. When you're
Yeah.
watching this is like totally gone. Unless you're listening to this, then you're listening to it. You're making my life easier if you're listening to this. If you're watching this, I hate you. You're making this life hell for me.
Like
Yeah.
this video and share it with your friends. But we
Like
hate
and
you.
subscribe, baby. We need those clicks. But
We
that's
feed
that's
on
basically
participation.
yes, that's basically the gist of this storybook of sorts of my I Quit Zombie School story. So critiques, thoughts, opinions, anything I should have changed or of that nature. I know you said something with the Marty thing, but I kind of just kind of highlighted. But
No, I kind of got the gist after you said that it was like after Marty left and shit.
yeah,
But
it's living her life.
there isn't really much uh mention of the failed project at all.
Or Freddy Krueger, now I realize it.
Yeah,
Freddy
we didn't
Krueger.
even get a Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Krueger will help clean that. Like, oh no, it's just like you're taken to the room. Freddy Krueger will help you with that. Mr. Krueger, help me bring this child to the revival room. Not Freddy!
But
It's like, Freddy, you work
welcome
here?
to your
That's
welcome to
right,
school,
bitch.
bitch.
That's right, bitch. I work here. What are you gonna do about
Classes in session, bitch.
it? It's like what Scary Terry almost like he just keeps on saying bitch a lot.
Yeah. I remember that one scene where like as soon as Morty gives Scary Terry like a new pair of
That's what his
pants,
name is, Scary
Scary
Terry.
Terry, yeah, Scary Terry was just like, "Oh, bitch."
Oh,
It's Morty.
it's like, yeah, we obviously know this Perry. Like, kind of speaking of Freddy Krueger, I know we're gonna end this very soon. Give me one moment. Give me one moment to breathe for this. There is a show called oh God, what was it? It was this 90. Trying to
Something from the 90s.
something from the 90s, 80s, something. Trying to remember. I can't. My brain don't work no good. East Side Games is what it's called. Give me a moment. I have to look at this game company just so I can remember. The Goldbergs. That's the show. There was a show called The Goldbergs, right? Which is supposed to be this weird show about like a kid growing up in the 80s and type of like a very 80s nostalgia type of thing. There was this one scene where the mother's having a nightmare, and this is where Freddy Krueger comes in because she was watching Freddy for a Nightmare on Elm Street movie once she fell asleep and had a nightmare, and this is funny because they actually got the
Robert Englund to actually reprise his role as Freddy Krueger in this one. So this was funny where he kind of brings up it's like whatever, go kill me, I don't care. It's like I thought I was doing a pretty good job. It's like oh no you were. Just don't get me wrong. I just have problems. It's my kid. It's like kids, I hate them. It's like yeah, that's why I don't have any kids. It's like she talks about it. It's like oh geez, that's too bad. I'm gonna kill him. It's like no, don't. It's great. That scene's great. I don't know if I put that in there. I probably did, but I don't know. Maybe I'm lazy. I probably am lazy. I don't know. I don't know anymore. Anyways, we're talking on long enough, so we should probably end it, right? Unless there's something else you want
Yeah.
to add that's funny. Bobbity boopity.
What's the deal with zombies?
Happy Leif Erikson Day. Like October 19th. Apparently, that is Leif Erikson Day. Ding ding and durgan. Gotta remember that. We'll never get to October 9th, by the way, but you know. Happy Leif Erikson Day.
I'm just more excited for Mad Hatter Day. That's when I get to drink excessive amounts of tea until my bladder decides to kill me.
Especially half cups of tea. You just cut the cups in half and you have the tea like that. Logic?
And then you have and then you put 1/2 cup of tea inside another 1/2 cup of tea. And then you get 2/2 of tea.
Cups of tea. What about a quarter? Oh, you're going way too far, man. No one has a quarter cup of tea. That's ridiculous. That's silly.
Let's be silly.
Don't be silly now.
Oh, there is one rule.
What's the
rule?
No
mustard.
No mustard.
No mustard.
No.
Mustard.
Mm-mm.
Mustard? Let's not be silly. A little
butter on what's perfectly fine. Don't mind if I do. I say what you want. I love the Disney version of that. That's great. They're perfect. I love it. It's small.
Yeah, I love the original Disney Alice in Wonderland.
I love that they brought those characters back sometimes too. Like in the I remember Bonkers, if you remember that show. At one point they brought those two characters back. I love it because they brought those two characters back at some point. It's just like I'm trying to find this what was it, in a bag or something? I'm trying to vaguely remember it because it's been so long.
Yeah.
It was like a bag.
Okay, so
something stupid.
Yeah, the bag was sentient, and he was like stealing all sorts of things. And most of the stuff that he stole was like a lot of stuff that belonged to the Mad Hatter and the March Hare.
Yeah.
So, and he even stole those two as well. So the reason why the bag stole everything, including those two, is because he wanted friends. So the Mad Hatter and March Hare argue about who is his best friend. And then, like, I guess the bag was like handcuffed to like the police guy. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
And I guess the March Hare kind of accidentally knocks over the police guy with the bag.
Yeah.
I've actually watched that episode not too long ago.
Oh, that's great. So it's actually in in your memory at the moment. That's great.
Yeah, because it's actually on Disney Plus.
I have to say, I love your Grimm ideas, though. These are like, you could actually turn these into books. It's like Grimm.
Oh,
it's like
Grimm.
Goosebumps.
Yeah.
Return of the
mix between Fairy Tales and Goosebumps. Yeah.
Welcome to the Gingerbread
House. Gingerbread House, Night or Escape from Werewolf Woods. I love that one especially, mainly because of how I included the Three Pigs house.
Yeah.
Which one? Oh yes, that was the one where I had a little bit of trouble trying to
deals can be murder.
Huh? Okay, so the deals can be murder one. Yeah, the deals can be murder one actually is a Rumpelstiltskin book.
Yeah. I still love this. It's your creative ideas. That's why I love having you on the show. It's perfect. It's a 3-hour special, folks. Who cares? Anyways, I should probably end it, right? Because I don't think there's anything else to do. Yeah, okay. So let's do that. So I guess now it's time to talk about our next topic, this next episode, which is going to be a you story. And unfortunately, well, I'm not going to say anything right now. But the guy should be like, vampires always doing the one thing. I can say that right now, but honestly, this next clip, if you don't know what this is, I don't know what to say about that because it's a dead giveaway. Just roll it.
Hey, who's this guy?
I'm the janitor. I'm trying to take a nap here.
I'm sorry, I thought you were made of wax.
I am made of wax. What's it to you?
I mean, I thought you were one of the wax robots.
Is there some reason a robot made of wax can't take a nap standing up in the middle of a bunch of wax robots? Or does that confuse you?
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much explains for itself, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know
It
if
sure
it
does.
that's a great
I
clip,
personally
by the
like
way.
it.
I love it. I love that clip.
I pers-
Futurama is the best.
Yeah, I love that clip.
Yeah. And we're talking about it as if we're we know what it is, but it's like it's a blank of nothing. It's just like you know what it is.
Oh,
But...
thanks for spoiling the magic.
Oh! Well, we pause every now and then, but you don't know that. Not only that, but there's
Next
usually
one is-
there's blanks of nothing, but I have to cut in to make it kind of like continuously talking. Like there's no ooh dead air. Because
Next, you want to spoil Amazo's bag of tricks for everyone?
Yes. Screw Amazo! Anyway. Well, with that in mind, I think that's it from us. So hopefully you enjoyed this podcast episode. We enjoy talking about you. And yeah, like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we do more of these every month. With that in mind, yeah, by the way, if you have any ideas, go ahead and just say it because we'll probably just steal it. We'll give you credit, but we'll steal it.
We'll steal it.
Well, I mean, we'll be talking about it on air, like that one guy of the Tower of Obscure, for sure, at some point in the future, next year maybe.
We didn't steal that. We didn't
We
steal that.
didn't talk. We didn't say anything just yet, so he could just go ahead and change it all of a sudden and be like, "What? Screw you." The caca poo poo pee pee. Yeah. Anyways, I've been Grimm, and this has been Vampire. No,
I'm the mascot of an evil corporation.
That's a wrap.
Bye bye.
God.
Oh boy.
How the hell did we go into clowns for talking all of a sudden? Honk honk. God, this is gonna be Clussy Fever all over again.
We just brought it back. I mean, hey, you're the guy who brings back all dead memes, right? Yeah, so it's fitting.
Goodbye. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Screw you.
There we go.